I'm Love Coach Scott Thomas, and welcome to Saturday Night Alive for the Global Peace Tribe.
We shall be the peacemaker. We shall be the peacemaker, and we shall become the children of love, the children of love, the children of love, children
Welcome, everybody, to Saturday Night Alive for the Global Peace Tribe. We have such a beautiful show designed for you tonight, all about the rise of the divine feminine and how it impacts us all. And so really looking forward to remarkable presenters, and Deborah is going to tell you all about them in a little bit. For all of you watching on Facebook, we really want to encourage you to come into our Zoom room. That way we can interact with you a little bit more easily. It's a wonderful way to just kind of connect with us. And it's really easy. All you got to do is go to www.globalpeacetribe.com. And if you go to the globalpeacetribe.com, you'll see it's very easy to register. And that way we have your email address. And we send out a replay every Monday. So not only do you get the replay of tonight's show, but you'll also be able to access all the shows we've done in the past. We've done 28 shows. This is our 28th version. This all started way back at the beginning of COVID. And here we are. And it's really become extraordinary. So please, if you're watching on Facebook, really want to encourage you to register by going to globalpeacetribe.com. Also want to say that if you are watching on Facebook, start a watch party. We really enjoy having people that start watch parties. And if you start a watch party and you send me a private message on Facebook, I'll announce it later in the show. And we've already got 225 people in our Zoom room, and it's going to grow up from there, from all over the world. It's very, very exciting. So welcome. We're happy to have you with us. And now to tell you more about the show and to introduce the people that will be on the show, here's my partner, Deborah.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to what is our 23rd show this season since the lockdown. And we are creating 13 new shows for the fall season, and we welcome you so much to be a part of this show. And thank you so much for your donations that you have given us during the registration. That really helps us to promote and produce such a good show for you. And this is going to be an amazing show. Like Scott said, this is one of my powerful themes in my own life. We are going to be creating a new world, activating the divine feminine within us all. And a lot of us for many years have known that activating the divine feminine principle in balance with the sacred masculine is really something that needs to come into our world to help balance all that's going on, especially right now. And we've known that in history past, there has been civilizations where women's leaderships with values of love, nurturing, including the whole community, and many other values like that have been in the society. And there's been hundreds and thousands of years of peace. And that's what we're looking to create in this new cosmic reset that we are having right now, as we actually not just look for the divine feminine to come in and be a part of our lives, a part of our society, a part of our world, but really activate and ground this principle in us now. And synchronistically, I felt very called to have this show this weekend because there was other events like the 1,000 Goddesses that are happening next weekend, like G-Fest, which is an amazing women's online platform that has all kinds of music and speakers that's happening right now. But also when I found out synchronicity, that is the Women's March is happening this weekend. And that means there are thousands of women that are standing up, women and men, all over the world, and especially in Washington, D.C., that have been standing up today to have their voices heard, to share these principles of the divine feminine and create a shift that's happening in our world now. So synchronicity is a big thing these days, and you know you're on the right path if things happen like that. So we're really happy to create that. And we have an amazing show for you. We have some of my favorite speakers that are coming on, and these are all people that have been champions of the divine feminine coming to the planet now. It has been their life work, and they're continuing to teach and share the information about that. So tonight we are happy to have Kaia Ra. She's an international best-selling author of the Sophia Code. She's celebrated internationally as a divine feminine leader. And we have Matt Kahn, who is going to be our representative of the sacred masculine, who's going to testify to the value of the divine feminine coming into our world and balancing the power of the divine masculine. We also have Elizabeth Wilcock, who's a mystic trailblazer. She's the creator of the Priestess Path lineage of light, and she's now initiating women into the sacred and mystical arts. We also have Camille Mortiz. She's an ascension guide. She's a way shower, voice of divine mother. She's an author and a speaker. We will also have Alexandra Love. She's an empath, psychic, oracle healer. She works with women nationally, creating the life that they want. We have Davida Saul, who's been an incredible activist and divine feminine priestess, nationally and internationally. And as always, we're having incredible musicians. Suzanne Sterling, she's a dedicated musician, yogi, activated, social innovator, and she is the voice of the goddess. We have Felicia Rose, who's a traveling muse, her passionate vocals and angelic mystique of the goddess. We have Sarita, whose worldwide musical mission is to uplift and inspire and activate healing in a uniquely feminine blend. We will be having Madhu and Egi, and their sound is a portal and a vessel for sound healing and the divine feminine. And we're going to have, this is a very special thing, a collective tarot reading for exactly the theme and what's happening now by Magic, who's a lifelong activist. She's a voice of the goddess and highly experienced in tarot and reading tarot. And very special, we're going to have a sacred dance by Halo Saranko, who's founder of the Shakti Temple Arts online international school of feminine embodiment and awakening. And also during these shows, we are sponsoring our GoFundMe with fire victims. And today we are going to be tuning into Sabina and Eric, who are both fire victims in Northern California who lost their homes and everything. And we will also be sharing some online opportunities with Lisa, who is going to be talking about the 1,000 Goddesses that's happening next weekend, and Corey Good, who is creating Vision 2020 for next weekend. And I want to mention that our GoFundMe is going to again be about supporting the fire victims. As you know, we've had incredible fires in California and Oregon, and this has wiped out people's homes, their livelihood. And we are using the power of community of this show to allow you to donate green love in the form of our GoFundMe and help support these victims at their time of need to get them back on their feet. So we take the money that you donate and we send the money back to these victims. So we will be posting the link in the chat room. Also, you can go to GoFundMe and you type in globalpeacedrive.com and just ping us $5, $10, $50. At times we've had people in the last couple weeks that have given us $1,000 or more. So we really appreciate that. And it goes out and it's an incredible demonstration of the power of community. And we'll talk more about that later. So now we're going to bring on some music. We always start with incredible, powerful music to open up sacred space. And so we would like to start with the incredible Suzanne Sterling. She's a dedicated musician, yogi, activist, and social innovator. who has been performing and teaching transformational workshops for over 20 years. She is the founder of The Voice of Change. She's co-founder of Off the Mat. She's the director of Global Seva Challenge. I've known her for many years. She would perform at the Goddess Grove at Harmony Festival, where we had an amazing dedication to the goddess for probably around 10 years in Santa Rosa, California. And I love her music. She's definitely a voice of the goddess and here to open up sacred space for us now. Thank you, Suzanne.
Thank you, Deborah and Scott. Hi, everybody in the world. Woohoo! I'm very happy to be here activating the divine feminine, particularly on tonight's show, because tonight is a special celebration of this powerful goddess named Durga. And I have a song dedicated to her, dedicated to the fierceness of the divine feminine. And I don't know about you, but the divine feminine has been with me for many years, and she always shows up in the moments when I'm in my most ecstasy and in my most despair. And that's when she shows up and opens her doorways to me. I've been dedicated to the goddess for many, many, many years. And this is a song about turning despair into worship, into devotion. So I feel like in these times right now, this is a dedication and invocation to her ferocity, to her fierce compassion, to the strength of the goddess to uplift what's happening now, to bring us into a remembering of exactly who we are, divine, beautiful humans, feeling deeply, loving profoundly. So I invite the divine feminine into this experience tonight for all who are listening, all who are watching. May she whisper in your ear, may she be the breath inside the breath, and may you worship her with every single cell in your body. I'm standing here before you. I dance under your moon. I'm naked here before you. Bag of bones. And I cannot see my way. Cannot see anything at all. I'm standing at the crossroads. I don't know which way to go. I'm dying down here. Sometimes all I see is despair. Sometimes I hear music. I hear music. I hear music that no one else can hear. Oh, J-Ma, J-Ma, J-Ma. Oh, Ma, J-Ma, J-Ma. Oh, J-Ma, Guru Ma Durga. I want to see your face. I want to whisper in your ear. You are the breath inside the breath, inside the breath, inside the breath. And I surrender. And I will listen Ji ma, oh ma, Ji ma, oh Ji ma, Guru ma Durga. I sing praises to the one who is made of the sun. I sing praises to the free, the dark. I sing praises to the flame in our soul. We are eternal. Oh, Jima, Jima, Jima. Oh, Maha, Jima, Jima. Oh, Guru Man, Durga, Durga, Kali, Kali Ma, Kali Ma, oh, Kali Ma, Wow.
Wow, how beautiful. Thank you, Suzanne. Thank you.
Suzanne, the moment we hear your voice, I get chills, and we're blessed. Suzanne's going to bless us with another song a little bit later on today. But you can learn more all about Suzanne by going to SuzanneSterling.com, SUZANNE Sterling.com. And Suzanne, thank you so much for the incredible blessing of your voice. Thank you so much. I want to welcome everybody. We've got well over 350 people in our Zoom room. It's really delightful to have you kind of coming in and sharing where you're all from. Thank you so much for that. And continue to tell us where you're from. We've got people coming from all over. It's very, very exciting. All over Canada, and it's quite extraordinary. And now to continue with the show, turning it over to my partner, Deborah.
Thank you, Scott. And we are going to continue to open up sacred space in the divine feminine way. And I'm so happy to invite an incredible woman who I've respected and followed for a long time. Elizabeth Wilcock is a mystic trailblazer, and she's the creator of the Priestess Path lineages of light, initiating women into the sacred and mystical art. She currently has a very powerful program that she's sharing now. And for most of her adult life, she's trained with masters and grandmasters in shamanism, martial arts, qigong, and she explored the edges of the mystic envelope. And she actually has 5 black belts in Kung Fu. But most of all, her dedication is the Priestess Path. So we wanted to invite her to come on first and continue to open up sacred space for this incredible program tonight. Elizabeth Wilcock.
It would help to unmute myself, wouldn't it? Anyway, thank you, Deborah.
You're so welcome. Thank you, Elizabeth.
Ladies and gentlemen, the time is now. The call of the goddess has resounded through the cosmos, and many of us were listening. We heard that in the depths of our souls, and we responded. She called to her sacred warriors to stand up, to make a sacred stand for the animals, the elements, the children, and the innocence of this planet. And if you are here, I would imagine that you are one of those who has heard that call. We are the legions of the divine feminine, embodying both the masculine, protective, warrior energies, and the feminine, the nurturance, the forgiveness, the feminine dew that the world is so hungry for. For thousands of years, we have had the fire. We've had the masculine. The masculine has burned and in some ways has left the world dry. And what we have now is the nourishment, the compassion of the feminine coming through all of us, through all of our souls, all of our hearts, nourishing this parched earth. And we are the ones who are here to establish the new ways and the new systems of balance and harmony, the technology in harmony with this earth, and the businesses, the ways of life that are in harmony with this earth, that infuse within them the qualities of the feminine that honor that. So I would like to offer an invocation. And I invite you to take a couple deep breaths wherever you are. And close your eyes, become present. All things are born of woman, sparked by the masculine. Let nothing be done to harm the innocents and the children. Sacred ones, I call to you. Great Spirit, the divine, I call to you. God and Goddess, I call to you. I ask that you be with us here now. We ask for your presence in our life, to infuse our life with blessing, protection, and guidance. I call to the angels in the vault of heaven, the archangels and the golden healing angels. We ask for your presence with each and every one of us, surrounding all of us with protection, light, with guidance in these trying times. And I call to the ancestors, those ancestors of the lineages of light, those that are coming back to this planet, those that have been kept by the ancestors for thousands of years, to bring them to the base of the world tree now. And we give thanks to our physical ancestors who brought our bodies here and nurtured and cared for us, that we may experience life on this planet at this time now. Pachamama, Madre Tierra, we give thanks for you, for birthing all things that we know of. We give thanks for you taking care of our bodies and giving strength to our bodies. And give thanks for you allowing us this earth walk. May we walk in beauty. May we touch this earth with gentleness. And may we leave a legacy of love. And may we anchor in peace and the sacred here and now. Amen. Aho. So the divine feminine returns by necessity to a challenged world. If we are to come back into balance, it will be through the sacred aspects of the feminine, through embodying them within ourselves, through the practices that encode the power of that yin essence, along with the sacred boundaries and the fierce strength And that is one aspect that is really coming in right now. Not only are we bringing in the compassion and the forgiveness, but that also needs the fierce sacred boundaries, because in order for the feminine to flourish, the earth, her animals, the elements, the children, and the feminine, there must be protection. There must be the sacred boundaries. And so on this day, the first day of Navaratri, in honor of Ma Durga, and Durga is the face of the goddess that is fierce. She holds her fierce boundaries, and she also is the aspect of the goddess that gracefully and fiercely defeated the dark patriarchal forces. And that's what we see right now. The aspects of the masculine penetrating energy have peaked. And so the medicine, like Kuan Yin over here, she brings medicine. The medicine is the feminine, the sacred feminine aspects, along with the boundaries. Because without the sacred boundaries, we have more of the same. And so we are learning, and we are to speak them in graceful strength. And the energies of the divine feminine, the priestess energies, are coming back for women to make their sacred life their work, what we do, that we are in temples, we do temple work, we do ceremonial work, and that is sacred work. So I say a priestess is a blessing. I initiate women onto the priestess path, deeper into the priestess path and the mystic path. In the priestess path lineages of light, we have a very rich and large global group right now. And if you are interested for next year's initiations or all the other stuff that I do, that is on elizabethwilcock.com. And I believe that's my 8 minutes.
Thank you very, very much, Elizabeth. And you really bring such a beautiful energy to us and such a dynamic energy. And I really want to encourage people to learn more about Elizabeth and her offerings. And so her website's easy to remember, elizabethwilcock.com. And tell us, what is the priestess path lineage of light? Tell us a little bit about that.
Light. So I have been training in various, what I call lineages of light, paths of power, for most of my life since I was 17. And so the ones that I have, there are many lineages of light, and I merge a number of them, ones that I have trained in, the shamanic, the martial, the Taoist, the angelic, which they trained me, and the priestess, and then a couple of lineages inside of the priestess path. And so I merge those into my mystery school, and I share with women these various initiations to activate the divine feminine, embodying the divine feminine and the sacred warrior. So I work a lot with the sacred warrior energies that are in devotion to the feminine, sacred feminine.
Beautiful. You know, one of the things that's really remarkable about our guests, and that we're so blessed, is that all of these are people that, let's spend 2 hours with them. Let's spend an entire day with Elizabeth. Let's spend an entire day with Matt Kahn. And so it's really beautiful that you all are willing to come on, and because of the nature of the show being short, variety show style, thank you for blessing us, all of you, all of our presenters, all of our musicians, with your offerings. Thank you so much, Elizabeth. So, Elizabeth started by talking about fire. We saw the candles next to her. And obviously, I think we do know that with the rise of the divine feminine, we're also going through an extraordinary purging. And it's a very powerful, in many ways challenging time in our lives right now. And so I'm going to show you some photographs. I just want to ask everybody to drop in. As we look at these photographs, it starts with the comforts of home, how blessed we are when we have home. A home, whoops, that's the last night show. When we have a home that's safe, beautiful, our computer, some flowers, the laundry, the prayer flags, and then fire hits. And what you're looking at right now is the remnants of the images I showed you a moment ago. The images a moment ago were the home of Sabina 2 weeks ago. And this is what is now standing there. The rage of the California, Oregon, now Colorado wildfires, it's impossible for any of us to fully understand unless we've gone through it. Just how extraordinary these fires are and the phenomenal destruction that they provide, that they bring in their wake. And in California, more than twice as much acreage as has ever burned before has now burned this year in our California wildfire season. And so that's why for the last 6 weeks, we've been supporting fire victims through our GoFundMe. And I want to introduce you now to Sabina, and that's her home that you just saw photographs of before and after. She's taken refuge with a friend of hers. She was impacted by the California fires. And Sabina, if you'd be willing to unmute so we can just chat with you for a moment. And first off, thank you for being willing to be on our show. And all of us, as we all look at you, just maximum grace for Sabina. What you represent so many people who have lost their homes and lost so much. How are you doing?
I'm recovering and on a journey, on a journey of, as you can see, everything is gone there. But I guess I'll go ahead and explain what I meant to talk about. And that is the beauty of all that has come my way since. And this show is an example of care for myself and the 68 trailer houses that went down in my park in Ashland, Oregon. And the profound outreach from Jackson County, from it's been really bursting my heart open continually with the generosity of our community, our bigger community and my personal community. And I would say it's a flow of compassion that has filled the whole atmosphere. And I think felt by everyone as the destruction that happened and the burst of compassion and care, and people just going right in there to volunteer and offer everything they could to me and all of us. And so simultaneously, there is this this nothingness there, and there is such beauty from all the people. It's just been incredible. And it is what is fueling me into my future, whatever that may turn out to be. Happy to have made it out of the fire, that was 20 feet in front of me. And everyone in my neighborhood did. Everyone. Some people got a knock on the door and they had to leave immediately. And my other friend in the park, 5 minutes, 3 of them had to get out, and there were, flames on both sides. And I ran from the fire to the creek and hitchhiked away from the fire. So it's shaken all of us up. It shook all of us to the core, of course, who went through this literally, but it's shaken everyone in my town, and everyone is changing and transforming. And I have felt a consistent trust throughout this whole journey, and grace, I have to say. And I know that we will rebuild in a beautiful way, and hopefully a way that's going to be more sustainable. So, and I'm so grateful. Thank you all, and for the gift of being on this show and the initiations that's already happened, and the beauty of voices, and grateful. You are what makes me take the next step.
Sabina, you're so inspiring, and let's just, everybody watching, let's just take a moment and ask maximum grace for Sabina and all the victims of the fire, including human and four-legged, even the creepy crawlers. Maximum grace for the just extraordinary number of beings that have been impacted by these wildfires. Maximum grace, maximum grace, maximum grace. And I want to ask for some green grace. Please do go to our GoFundMe. $5, $50, $500. John Gray was one of our speakers a couple of weeks ago. He donated $1,000. Our sponsor last week, Jay Mayer, donated $2,500. And whatever it is, whether it's $5 or $2,500, all the money we collect will go to Sabina. And we have a second fire recipient you'll meet a little bit later on in the show. All the money goes to them. So thank you so much, Sabina, for being with us. And I hope you'll stay and enjoy the rest of the show. We've got a really beautiful show ahead of us. So thank you. Thank you so much. And get a reminder that you can go to GoFundMe, just put in Global Peace Tribe, and that's where you'll find it. And I know that Deborah's also put the link in the chat box on a couple of our primary Facebook pages. GoFundMe, Global Peace Tribe. Thank you, Sabina. And now, speaking of Deborah, I'm going to turn it back over to Deborah to take us further through the show.
Thank you, Scott. And that is definitely an example of the divine feminine working, all that love and care that Sabina is receiving. So it's so beautiful to hear that on this show right now. So thank you, everyone. And thank you for everyone who's donating now. And we're going to go to some more music, because music can really inspire the vibration of the divine feminine and put us into that incredible heart opening space. And so the next musician, she is passionately devoted to the divine, and she's gifted with a voice of love inspired by celestial inner sound. Felicia Rose is a traveling muse. She captivates audiences all over the United States, where she travels and gives performances. I've known her for many years and respected her. She's an incredibly beautiful channel of the divine feminine. So now we give you Felicia Rose.
Thank you, Deborah. This song is to the divine feminine, to the teachers and the gurus that guide us, unseen and seen, always with us. into your try to pierce the veil of illusion of mine. I only have these songs I sing to you to keep me alive. Keep me alive. Holy Mother, Mother of bliss, compassion flow through my Parvati, Anandama, through my Parvati, I am only here to sing. I am only here to sing. I am only here to sing your holy name. Through my Parvati, Anandama. I am only here to say your name.
Oh, thank you so much, Felicia. Felicia's going to be back. We're going to get another song from her, but I want to just encourage everybody to go to her website, FeliciaRose.com, FELICIAROSE, FeliciaRose.com. For the tides are turning, and that's where you'll find all sorts of inspirational songs, spiritual release entwined with her mantras. She has a lot of beautiful, beautiful music to offer. And so, Felicia, it's so wonderful to have you with us. And I'm really glad you're going to come back and do another song for us in a little while. Thank you so much. I get to introduce one of my favorite people. I've been very fortunate because of the nature of the work that I've done. I've met a lot of authors and speakers and celebrities. And I really especially appreciate the ones that are very humble, heartfelt, and just real. And I'm, of course, talking about Matt Kahn. And I had been a fan of his. I'd read his books. I'd gone to a couple of his presentations. And I kept saying to Deborah, we got to get Matt Kahn. We got to get Matt Kahn. And he was on the show recently. And then when we were designing this show, you know, we knew we wanted to have a very strong male presence, not to make it just all the gender of women. And both Deborah and I immediately thought, do you think we can get Matt to come back? And we're really blessed that he said yes. I am going to put the spotlight on him. And for anybody who doesn't know, I'll tell you a little bit more about Matt. He's the author of the best-selling books, Whatever Arises, Love That, and Everything Is Here to Help You, and the universe always has a plan. And what I love about those 3 book titles is that they tell you exactly what those wonderful books are about. But they really help you to understand that it's really true. And when you read Matt's books or you listen to him speak, we have a divine remembrance of the goodness of life and how blessed we are. He had a spontaneous awakening from an out-of-body experience in early childhood and has spent decades working with ascended masters and archangels. So he has a very intuitive ability that he's been cultivating for a long time of being able to see, hear, feel, and just directly know. He brings forward revolutionary teachings through both written and spoken word, as you're about to hear. And he also really is so helpful for assisting energetically sensitive beings in healing their bodies, awakening the soul, and transforming reality through the power of love. Thank you so much, Matt, for being with us.
Oh, thanks so much for having me. It's truly an honor to be here on this show as always. And I just want to say thank you to all of our speakers and musicians and dancers for the opportunity to collaborate with you for the well-being of our planet, and to all the divine goddesses and gods that are with us holding space as we create this new world, awakening a new consciousness of oneness that brings peace to the divine masculine and feminine, not only between genders, but within the left and right hemispheres of our brain and within our minds and our hearts. And a lot of you know I channel healing energy as I speak. And as I was thinking about this subject matter, and again, I'm so honored to have the opportunity just to represent and to honor the divine feminine, which is a life work and passion of mine. I wanted to greet you all in a very personal way. And I wanted to share something with you that I think is a wonderful contribution to the embracing of the divine feminine, the returning power of the divine feminine. And I wanted to talk about the power of identity, which is a very interesting thing for me to talk about because my earliest experiences on this earth plane were actually of spiritual awakening. I didn't go through awakening because I was on a spiritual path or I was seeking a refuge from my suffering. I actually just had spontaneous awakenings and visited heaven at an early age and went through a lifelong series of changes that brought me into a very deep state of spiritual alignment. And yet the other side of my journey, as much as it's come so easily to me to be aligned in my heart and loving and open, is I also had to deal with the human side of my journey, which is something for me that's always been very unknown and a source of great pain. Because here I was in this spiritual alignment, wanting to dedicate my life to service and serve the will of the universe. And I came to know as I grew on this earth of the people that came before me that did things, atrocious things, unspeakable things to children, to men, to women, to people of different genders, to people of different races, and things that in my instincts seemed light years away from anything I would even consider or do, no matter the dire need of survival I was ever in. And it took me many, many years in my life, even into adulthood, to reconcile what I actually believe to be the deeper level of embodiment in awakening. Because in the first earlier stages, there's the awakening out of the identity of, I'm not the body, I'm not the mind, I'm not the ego, and all of these things. And you are experiencing this launching out into the cosmos, and you are experiencing the totality of who you are. That in the oneness of all reality, that all of us are equal, unique expressions of divinity and form. And then I was taken on a journey to bring all of that back into the body, back into identity. And something rather profound happened for me that opened my heart more than anything I've ever experienced before. One day, I just looked at my body. And I realized that I personally am not the one who did the unthinkable things that I can't justify throughout the course of history. But my consciousness has been housed in the body of a man. And I have the opportunity, I have the lifelong passion, I have the commitment, and I have the invitation to make right the indiscretions of anyone that's ever come before me. Whether I look at the fact that my consciousness is in the body of a man, or the fact that the ethnicity of this body is Caucasian, I have the opportunity to make right whatever wrongdoing I have known about, read about, and has been brought to my attention. And so as we are on this call tonight, as we are celebrating the divine feminine, as we are making peace with the two sides of polarity, as we are here creating a new reality, I wanted to bring for all of us two rather simple and life-changing practices that I personally practice in my life on a daily basis, and I wanted to offer it as a source of inspiration for all of us on this call. And the first practice I do, which is an inward practice, and I've done this for most of my life, whether I was conscious of it or not. And the practice is always making sure that we are personally taking responsibility for our feelings. That no matter who is triggering us, what in our circumstances is causing us to, in our perceptions, feel the way we're feeling. There's a point in our evolving consciousness where we realize no one is causing me to feel what I am feeling, but reminding me of the feelings that are housed within me to be healed at the rate at which I love them. And the reason it's so important to take responsibility for your feelings is because if we look at the lineages and history of the divine feminine, whether the feminine that is expressing and instigating alchemy through artistry, through birthing children of a higher vibration to this planet, or as the alchemy of healers that whip up the normalcy and shake up the normalcy of your everyday life. And as you go through an awakening of consciousness, what you may not realize is while you are seeking and pursuing the benefits of consciousness, first your old conditioned reality has to be flipped upside down. And throughout history, there has been so much example of healers representing the divine feminine being persecuted, hurt, tortured, and exiled because of the normalcy of conditioning they interrupt and paying the price and being blamed for the new consciousness that is awakening in human beings. And as we all create a new reality, we are making it safe for men, women, and children who carry the activated code of the divine feminine to do their healing work, to whip up in all of us in a greater state of conscious surrender, all that all of us need to process and heal for ourselves, for our humanity, and all of our lineages, and taking responsibility for what is ours to see and face, and not projecting it upon and hurting a healer that is simply inviting us into the next level of our evolution. And the second practice I think is rather profound, and I do this on a daily basis. It is one of the most beautiful things that feels so good in my heart. Whether I'm walking down the street, the silent prayer I offer every person I see. If I'm in traffic, every car I pass by. On social media, everyone's post that I see. If I send an email, the thing I put in the signature line or at the end of any conversation I have. I say silently or out loud, I respect and honor your power and beauty. And I am speaking to the divine feminine as the masculine within all beings, that every time you or I do this, we are helping to heal and absolve lineages and cellular memories of atrocity, of torture, of persecution, of segregation. That when I look at a human being, there is literally no time, interest, or capacity for any personal thought or projection of anyone when they are simply existing for me to honor and respect the power and beauty that resides within them. The beauty not of the preferences of various body parts as our society likes to idolize, but as the recognition of one's soul coming out of hiding to shine a light and to bring greater consciousness to anyone that we encounter. The power being the creativity, the inspiration, the intuitive nature of our being, or the alchemy that allows us to literally transform worlds by the way in which we relate to things in view. And so as way showers of a new consciousness, as embodiments of unity consciousness, we can help clear the course of our so painful history. We can help rewrite the history books from a vibrational level, and we can course correct to create brand new realities by knowing that the intention of why we are passing by people in traffic, people in stores, people on social media, is not to correct other people's perceptions. It is not to get into a battle of my beliefs versus your beliefs, but for me to take the time that says, for the history I carry, for the lineages I'm transforming, for the brothers and sisters whose actions of the past I apologize for, racially, esoterically, and personally. I respect and honor your power and beauty. And through my words, I allow the power of our soul's beauty and the beauty of our soul's true power to erase the pain that we carry in our cellular bodies and to transform every individual, whether identifying as a man, a woman, or simply abiding in a state of gender neutrality. We are here to balance out the masculine and feminine, to bring the masculine from the mind, the woman archetype from the womb, that meet in the midpoint of the open, eternal, unconditionally loving heart. For all sentient beings. And so the two practices to make this time together as functional as possible, so that as we come together as one, we walk away going, now I have an idea of what I can do to further this energy into my life and to inspire others around me. When we see anyone in life, in thought, in front of us, or at whatever level, I respect and honor the power of your beauty. And if you have been created to stir up in me or anyone else what has been outside of our awareness but is ready to be healed by loving it, then I'll take responsibility for my feelings, which is the true art of the divine masculine, anchoring sacred space for the healing and transformation of the feminine. And by taking responsibility for my feelings, I demonstrate the true power of the masculine, not to be a protector of a feminine energy, as if being more emotionally centered is some sort of weakness. No. The power of the masculine demonstrates its power by surrendering to the light of the divine feminine. And as two become one, our heaven on earth emerges. It is my honor to be here with all of you. I love you all dearly. And no matter the kind of activity you're seeing on this planet, love always has the final word. Love always wins. Namaste.
Well, you brought me to tears, Matt. Just want to ask all of us just to have a moment of silence, to really bring in what he just so beautifully has invoked.
And just so you know, Scott, I say everything I'm saying straight from my heart because I've spent my entire life apologizing for my ancestors and forefathers and feeling guilty and realizing I could feel guilty, and feeling guilty doesn't help anyone heal and change anyone's behavior. I have to be different, and I have to be different. I have to be a different kind of human being that changes the face of this planet for as long as I'm here. And that's my lifelong dedication, not from guilt, but now from a state of grace. And so that's what I want to share.
Thank you. And it's true. We all carry ancestral lineage,
Yeah.
whether it's alcoholism or domestic abuse or domestic violence. But also remember that our ancestors were in constant physical survival.
Yeah.
And they paid a tremendous price with one goal in mind, what we have now: freedom, incredible freedom, and incredible prosperity. So let's take the privilege that our ancestors provided us and now work to heal what they didn't have the tools or the time to work on. We have the tools. We have Matt Kahn. We have Elizabeth. We have Kaia Ra. We have all the people you see on this show and so many more. We have tools and ways to heal the ancestral lineage that we carry. I do want to just let people know that you can learn more about Matt by going to his website, mattkahn, KAHN.org. And it's true, whatever arises, may we love that. When we're looking at the world, when we're looking at what we perceive as crazy and insanity, let's love it. And Matt teaches us and helps us to do that. Thank you so much, Matt, for being on our show. God bless you. And thank you for your world service. I'm going to take a moment to thank the people who've been donating. And this is something that we do for those of you who are new to our show. We do this, we give thanks to the people who have been donating. And this all goes to our fire recipients. And I want to acknowledge a lot of people donate anonymously. So thank you, all of you who donated anonymously. You're not going to hear your name, but your donations are so appreciated. I want to thank Alice. Wow, we have two Alices in a row, actually, different last names. Ruth Yamini, the ACL supporter Cabanas, Sophia Roberts, one of our favorite musicians. Love you, Sophia. Eric, Jacqueline, Susan, Jane, Marlene, Elja, John, Deborah, Lucretia, many more anonymouses there, Karen, Miranda, Pamela, Daphne, my friend Daphne, Marjorie, Lorna, Lee, Monica, and a whole lot more anonymouses. Thank you everybody so much for your donation. And please continue to go to GoFundMe. Just type in Global Peace Tribe, and it all goes to our fire victims. And now to move our show forward, I'm turning it back over to Deborah.
Thank you, Scott. And thank you, everyone that's donating. It's so great to be able to send that money back out to the people in need. So thank you so much. And one of the very important principles and values of the divine feminine is the arts. Something we don't value as much in our society here, but in many other cultures, the arts were prized because it is really when you're listening to art, experiencing art, or performing art, are you really spirit connected with source, connected with the divine. So we definitely have a lot of music tonight, and we have some dance. You're going to be able to experience Halo Saranko. She's the founder and lead instructor of the International and Online School of Shakti Temple Arts, and her mission is to reawaken the feminine traditions in the pursuit of temple dance, classical tantra yoga, and Taoist feminine arts. And she's been going to India for the last 10 years to study Odissi dance with very incredible, esteemed gurus. And she teaches here in the United States as well. And she does all forms of dance. She's actually a personal friend in my community in Sebastopol. And I really appreciate and love her as a sister. So I'm so happy to present to you now, Hela, and in her temple dance. Welcome, Hela.
So much, Deborah. It's such an honor to be here, and following up from Matt, I'm just so moved. So it is an honor. Tonight we are not going into the temple dance realms as far as Odissi or traditional temple dance, but a more, we're going to do a belly dance fusion tonight. So thank you all for being here. and I'll get started.
Mm. So beautiful. So beautiful. And your cat, by the way, was quite active at the very beginning. It was quite lovely to see the cat wanting to be involved. Want to let everybody know that you can learn a lot more about Hilo Soranko. She really is all about the temple arts of the priestess, and she teaches the 5 keys to feminine practice. And so this is, one of her PDFs. And there's so much more that she has to offer. How do people best find you? Where would you like people to go?
So that PDF is a little freebie that I have that talks about some of the lineages of the priestess arts that I personally carry. And you can find that on my website, shaktitemplearts.com. By joining my newsletter, you'll receive that PDF.
Great. So by going to shaktitemplearts.com is where they'll find that. And And I'm going to actually go there right now. So while you're with us, and thank you for just bringing so much beauty into the world and such a beautiful dance into our show. Thank you. And here is her website, shaktitemplearts.com. There's a lot going on there. Welcome to the temple. So I want to encourage everybody who is touched by this dance and by her work to check that out. Thank you so much, Halo. Hope you'll come back on again soon.
Thank you, Halo. Totally beautiful. And now I get to introduce one of my favorite teachers of the Divine Feminine. This woman is an international best-selling author of the Sophia Code, which is a celebrated Divine Feminine renowned world oracle for the Sophia Dragon tribe. And Kaia Ra has been directly initiated by the Ascended Masters and Archangels since childhood. And she gives many live ceremonial events, speaking engagements, online platforms all over the world internationally. The Ascended Masters, Divine Feminine Ascended Masters speak through her and guide her in a worldwide movement for humanity's reconciliation. And actually the innate sovereign divinity return of the Divine Feminine Christ consciousness. She was on our show initially when we did a Divine Feminine show in August, and she was so incredible and wonderful that I wanted to invite her back again and tell us now what she sees in this incredible time on the planet and the total grounding and activation of the Divine Feminine now. Thank you, Kaia Ra, for being with us again today.
Oh, thank you so much, Deborah, for the opportunity to come back. It's so lovely to be here with you. And your own Divine Feminine leadership, your own oracular gifts, curating these panels for us to speak together and meet together at this time. It's so essential. And I want to say a warm thank you to all of our guest speakers and all of the spiritual leaders and Divine Feminine leaders and activists that are in attendance of this gathering right now. I know that we have the privilege and the opportunity to speak to you through this platform, but I know that I can share from my heart pretty safely that every one of the leaders on this panel, we know that we're leading side by side with you, and we know that we're serving side by side with you, and we are honored to be here with you, serving your leadership and your divine purpose. We have a really big prayer at this time for the activation of humanity's sovereign divinity. And in my book, The Sophia Code, we share about a divine genome. And this divine genome contains all of the divine qualities of God, the Divine Mother and the Divine Father. Every single divine quality of God exists already within you, within every cell of your body. And that is why you are absolutely sovereign and holy within this world that is rife with pain and brokenness at this time. And it's important for us to understand that it's okay to look at that full on, because we can only heal what we're willing to speak out loud. We can only truly create a new world based on what we understand isn't actually working. So with our eyes and our hearts wide open, I would love for us to just share this very simple prayer that you'll find at the very beginning of the Sophia Code, before Sophia's chapter, which in the Sophia Code, Sophia is the name we give the one divine mother of all life. And the one divine mother of all life, she is the heart of the Divine Feminine movement, consciousness. It's this return that we need to balance the Holy Father with the consciousness of the Holy Mother. It goes back to one of our deepest core wounds, when we feel disconnected from the Holy Mother, and there's just this religious connection to the Father. We need this balance, because in that balance, we come into the wholeness of who we really are as holy beings. So this prayer instantaneously brings us back into the heart of the Holy Mother. And I'll just say it together with you right now. And for those of you who are Sophia Circle leaders on our call or familiar with the Sophia Code, feel free to say it out loud together in support of everyone here at this gathering. It goes a little bit like this. Divine Mother of all life, take me to that place deep within your womb where I can know nothing and be reborn anew. I'm going to say it one more time. Divine Mother of all life, take us to that place deep within your womb where we can know nothing and be reborn anew. That's the heart of the Divine Feminine movement. It's the understanding that we don't have to know everything. In fact, we can let go of everything we think we know about this world, which most of it has been programmed into us the moment we arrive. And we can start to come back into a direct communion with whatever you call God, whatever you call source or spirit. It's the Divine Feminine principle of receptivity that brings you into a state of what we call communion. Not like what you experience in church. This is the authentic, true communion that the prophets and the ascended masters have been speaking about for centuries. And that is your direct connection to the source. In the Sophia Code, we meet 8 major divine feminine ascended master and angelic key codes. And they are initiating our consciousness in what this quantum communion means, to be in direct communion with the light of your source, of your higher self, of your own sovereign divinity. And what it means is that you don't have to understand this world, because this world has been so conditioned. What you get to discover are the downloads of God within you, pure source light solutions, and as well as a pure uninterrupted connection that you can lean into, you can lead from, and you can serve others from, free of codependency and free of the viral programming of this world. And here's why. That direct communion with the Holy Mother, it's a source of intuitive, intelligent feeling self-knowing. It means that when you're directly connected to your higher self and to whatever you want to call Divine Mother, Divine Father, God, Source, it's like you're always going to know how you can be of service to the person or people in front of you. You're always going to be at the right place at the right time, because you're trusting a consciousness that's omniscient and that has got your humanity, loves your humanity, loves you as a human being. Your divinity is so much bigger than you, and it's a consciousness that can operate your human awareness in profoundly miraculous ways. So this quantum communion that you actually have access to is what we become initiated into through the Sophia Code, through section 2 of the Sophia Code, where we walk through these 8 initiations. And in that process, your human awareness is invited, right? Because that is the Divine Feminine. It's an invitation to the grace of who you already are. The Divine Feminine is an invitation, a reclamation to the holy being that could never be ultimately wounded or harmed in this world. And I do not say that lightly. I'm a survivor of multiple near-death experiences. So I have discovered through this communion that nothing can actually touch your soul's light. And when you're coming to a Divine Feminine service from that space, there's a few things that you can invoke in your relationship with others. The first is that when you are truly authentic in how you are relating with your human experience in your relationship with source within you, with God, whatever you call God, your higher self, and you're honest about the ups and the downs, you're honest about the hot mess of your humanity that's learning how to burn bright in the light of your divinity, you are making an invitation. You are helping other people soften as you communicate both about your victories and your challenges. You are becoming an authentic and real embodiment of this intuition. You're saying, hey, there are many days it's not easy to live by my intuition, to trust and have faith, and to resource this source beyond what this world is telling me, how this world is telling me to live. But I'm practicing it and it's working. And when you're allowing yourself to be a vulnerable mirror in that way, it opens others to the possibility that they could walk this path of Divine Feminine self-knowing, communion, intuition for themselves. The Divine Feminists and Masters of the Sophia Code also speak about how important it is to recognize that we have a language of our soul that cannot be corrupted by this world. There's such a battle for our hearts and minds happening right now worldwide. But the reality is your direct communion with your source, with your higher self, which is a divine feminine form of communion, it is actually an invincible light of protection over your consciousness. And it allows for you to feel into your body and discover what is your true yes and what is your true no. It's interesting because maybes are actually a no until it's actually a yes. And the divine feminine movement is teaching us how essential it is to know our yeses from our nos, that it's safe to create emotional, psychological boundaries that allow for us to stand in our light and no longer accept that we need to be influenced by a lot of agendas that are running people around in circles right now at this time. When we connect with the divine feminine, we're connecting with a somatic, full body, full cellular soul knowing truth. You know your yes from your no through that intuitive connection to your body, which is in communion with God. We have to work really hard to lie to ourselves about what's actually, false, or, what we're being convinced that is something other than our truth. And that's why divine feminine consciousness is here to help us not only up level, but rise up collectively, because we know in our bodies and our hearts what is not real about this world. We know what needs to be left behind. And we know in our bodies and in our hearts, through our divine feminine intuitive capacities, faculties, just like we know what needs to be downloaded. We know what needs to be created in birth, and we know what it's going to take, because the divine feminine understands that nurturing and parenting our creations is just as important as birthing them into this world. So we got to roll up our sleeves. And so part of what divine feminine leadership at this time looks like is using language that invites your clients, your communities, your friends and family to explore and be curious in their body, not their minds, not their heads, not what they think they know. What is their body and their heart sharing for them about their yes and their no? The more we're somatically exploring our personal truth, the more we're stepping into our sovereignty and outside the codependency that we are so often programmed to participate in this world, in every facet of life. Finally, the divine feminine movement is setting us free by inviting us to become the masters that we already are. So many of us have come from across the cosmos for this collective angelic mission to activate humanity's sovereign divinity at this time. And the way that we know ourselves best is through the willingness to master our own relationship with life. It's just like we understand that we have to become a parent to our own reality. That is the divine from the mother that recognizes there are so many aspects of our consciousness that are coming online simultaneously. How do we nurture? How do we uplift? How do we expand beyond fear and into our greatest light at this time? It's like, well, we do that through a process of self-initiation. And the Sophia Code Cosmology offers you an opportunity to mentor with key divine feminine ascended masters that view you as equals and are creating the space for you to mentor with them day and night so that you can get used to what it's like to actually live as a master in human form, which is essential because that's what you came here to be. So if you want to experience the daily ascension journey of what it really takes to live in the intuition, the healing light, the psychic abilities of the divine feminine principles within you, including this invitation to a quantum communion that's going to radically not just upgrade your consciousness, but lift it up to operate from a completely new context of your own sovereign divine light. Well, you want to hang out with your friends in high places. And those are the ascended masters that I can't speak for all ascended masters, but I can speak for the High Council of the Sophia Dragon Tribe. And this is a high council that is here to teach us, to help us remember how to truly, authentically live in our sovereign divinity on a daily basis, and how to bring that self-knowing and that self-communion into our divine feminine leadership, which is desperately needed at this time. We need to heal our relationships with our bodies, our hearts, our minds through an intuitive space, not the ego space, not the mental body space, mental body, all of our beautiful thoughts and abilities to articulate and communicate, if that is governed by the heart and our somatic self-knowing, now we are operating from a completely new context that's so intuitive. It always has the right solutions at the right time. We're able to download directly from the source, beyond the shoulds, beyond the have tos. Our mission, our angelic mission, becomes a get to through this divine feminine Christ consciousness of communion that's accessible to us every moment of the day. So I'm hoping that some of those points from the Sophia Code are helpful this evening for what we're all sharing and celebrating, that the divine feminine is here. It's activating all of humanity. We're not going anywhere. We're just so excited that so many people are joining us in this coming online together through the heart space. And thank you again, Deborah, for the opportunity to speak about divine feminine Christ consciousness tonight. It means everything to me. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And please tell us about transforming trauma into soul power. How, when people go to kaiara.com, that's KAIARA.com, this is what pops up right away. Tell us what is that an online course that you're offering?
Yes, I'm really excited to offer Transforming Trauma into Soul Power. It's going to be a 4-month mentor journey that begins in January 2021, based on my own journey of radically transforming my life with the teachings of the Sophia Code. Many people know I'm a survivor of 18 years of extreme atrocities, and I witness how much we are all transforming personal and collective trauma, not just from this lifetime, but from so many lifetimes. And so we're going to go through some very key and pivotal teachings that not only have helped me survive my trauma, but really step into a space of thriving. So I want to share everything that I have in my heart about that journey of stepping into a thriving space through the divine feminine, and really just through a space of our sovereign wholeness, divine feminine and masculine, Christ consciousness working as one within us. So that starts this January, and feel free to reach out to our team angels at my website, kaiara.com. We're happy to get on the phone with you and share more about it. Thanks for letting me share about that tonight, Scott.
Absolutely. I mean, I want to encourage everybody to really check that out. Is that for women only? Just wanted.
Oh no. It's so beautiful how many men have been coming to the Sophia Code movement now, because the Sophia Code movement is about activating our sovereign divinity. It's coming through that divine feminine Christ message from these divine feminine masters, but it's all about our whole and equal sovereign divinity. So thank you for asking that question.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you for the incredible journey of your life.
Oh.
And for your transmission, your enthusiasm. It's such a blessing to have you in our world, let alone in our show here. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Scott. What an honor. And thank you, Deborah. And thank you to everyone watching tonight. It's been such a joy to be here. Thank you.
Wow. Well, we're going to go to some music. And it's my pleasure to introduce you to Madhu and Ege. Some of you may have seen him. He's been on our show a few times now. In fact, he was on my show last night, the Friday night straight talk show that I do. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about Madhu. His voice is otherworldly. It's truly a portal and vessel for sound healing. And you're going to experience that. But what I want to tell you is that this is a man who was in a very serious accident, and he woke up as a quadriplegic. And he was so paralyzed he could not function by himself. He needed constant care just to be fed or to go to the bathroom. But he embarked in an amazing personal healing journey with a lot of support from family and community, and primarily using sound healing and vibration and the power of positive thinking, healed himself. And he's been on our show several times. He's got his partner Ege, who's going to be playing with him. And I just really invite you, as we take the messages of Matt Kahn and Kaia Ra and Elizabeth, they've given us incredible transmissions. And the music you're about to hear is also a transmission. So as we listen to the music, let's just raise our vibration and percolate in what we've learned from Kaia Ra and Matt Kahn and the others as we listen to the beautiful music of Madhu and Ege. Take it away, guys.
When I was young, I was taught to read Hebrew and pray and chant in this ancient language. And although Judaism is an Abrahamic religion, the divine feminine is present, and she is known as Shekhinah. I know it is not easy to say that word, to pronounce Shekhinah, commonly mispronounced as Shekinah. I would like for us to chant Shekhinah, to invoke the divine feminine within and all around us. Brucha atia Shekhinah, Eloheinu, Ruach Ha'olam. Blessed is God, the feminine God, who is one, Spirit of the universe. Brucha atia Shekhinah, Brucha atia Shekhinah, Brucha atia Shekhinah, Brucha atia Shekhinah.
Shekhinah, Blessed is the feminine God, who is one. Spirit of the universe, Spirit of the universe, Shekinah. Spirit of the universe, Shekinah, 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 Ya Shekinah, Eloheinu Ruach Haolam, Shekinah, Ya Shekinah, Eloheinu Ruach Haolam, Ruchat Ya Shekinah, Eloheinu Ruach Haolam, Ruchat Ya Shekinah, Eloheinu Ruach Haolam, Shekinah Ya Shekinah, Eloheinu Ruach Haolam, Shekinah Ya Shekinah, Eloheinu Ruach Haolam, Ve'al Roshi surrounding me, Ve'al Roshi, Shekinah, 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 Ruchat Ya Shekinah, Eloheinu Ruach Haolam. Blessed is the divine feminine who is one, spirit of the universe. Shekhinat El, Shekhinat El, Shekhinat El. Shekhinat El.
I wanted to bring in 5 examples of the beautiful divine feminine, different races, colors, places that they're from. Your music, Madhu, is so beautiful. It is so exquisite. I'm so grateful for your presence on our show. And I want to encourage people to know there are some wonderful ways to get more of Madhu. One way is he's going to be back with one more song tonight. But you can also go to his website, which has got a beautiful name. It's firstwasthesound.com. Firstwasthesound.com. And actually, that album is out now. Body of Ecstasy is out now. But there's one other way, too, that we can support Madhu. And it's something that I've done this, and that's by going to Patreon. For any of you who aren't familiar, Patreon is a wonderful way for us to support artists. Like Deborah was talking about earlier, supporting the arts is a very important part of what we can do as community, because our artists do not get enough support, especially now when so many artists who made their living by doing live performances can't, with clubs and bars and restaurants closed. So I want to encourage people to go to patreon.com/Madhu Music, MADHU Music. And that's where you can join at any number of amounts. I joined, I support Madhu, I support some of the other artists that have been on our show, like Nina Gray. And I want to encourage people to consider doing that as well. So thank you, Madhu, so much. Thank you, Ege, for joining us. You guys are just amazing. And we'll hear a little bit more from them later on in the show. All right, turning it back over to Deborah.
Thank you, Scott, and thank you, Madhu and Ege. Amazing. Now you understand why we brought them back. And now we get to do something really wonderful that we haven't done before. And on this show, we get to make things up because we're just making the whole thing up. And we had an idea that it would be really incredible to do a collective tarot reading for all of us, for the world, for everyone listening, for everyone on the replay about this theme and really see what the divine has to say to us through the cards. And of course, intuition is an incredible aspect of the divine feminine. And so one of my favorite tarot teachers, tarot readers that I've known for many, many years, that again is in my community here in Northern California, is Magic. She's a lifelong activist. She's definitely a voice of the goddess. She's an author of Magic Tarot, A Journey of Self-Realization. She's a tarot teacher and reader. She's the people's poet. And she's an author of Speak the Truth. And she is going to do a collective reading for us right now. And here is Magic.
Thank you so much, Deborah. It's a pleasure to be here. And I'm just deeply moved by everything that's coming together tonight in this moment. Like, for example, Sophia, I love words. And Sophia, philosophy is love of Sophia, of love of the goddess of wisdom. So may more of the philosophy of this life come through the divine feminine. I have been doing yearly a reading for the world, but this is a unique year for sure. And so this doing one at this point and catching up, I think is a very powerful moment. I've chosen to do a 3-card reading because 3 is the number of the Empress, the divine feminine in the tarot. And it's going to be our spiritual history, our spiritual challenges, and our spiritual gift. So as every living system has to evolve, so does the tarot. And in my book, I have renamed the Emperor the Visionary Activist. And I have renamed the Empress Gaia, because what we need right now are visionary activists for the earth. And it is really a time for us to stop looking at our great Mother Earth as a resource and recognize her as source, so we may all live in the earth again, not on it. And I am an activist, and I think that all anybody has to do right now is not be overwhelmed about what you need to do. Just activate your unique gift for this time. That's all. You will find many ways to do it, but please take that path. And now I want to start the reading, and I want you all to focus with me as I mix the cards, because this is happening live. And let's see what the cards have to say for this moment in time. All right, everybody, focus with me. Okay, so the first card is representing our spiritual history. Oh, this is so interesting because actually this card, the wealth card, the 10 of discs, was actually at the bottom earlier. And I was thinking of you, Deborah, and community, because one of the things I discovered about this card through the Mother Peace deck is that the greatest wealth we have now is community. This traditionally fortune telling would just be, you're going to get money. But the Mother Peace deck shows a circle of people helping a woman give birth. And so the true wealth of this time is our community. And if you notice, this is a picture of the Kabbalah, the tree of life, and how we can manifest and bring in this power right now. So, you know, one of my teachers told me it's easy to get out there, but try bringing it down. And let's be a circle that helps birth the Aquarian age, which I have named since Aquarius is the water bearer, water is the suit of emotions, and it is an air sign, so air is the suit of the mind, then this must be a time for intelligent love and for us to rescue Venus out of the, possessiveness, delusion, and martyrdom into her full power. So I am really glad to actually see, I already had a peek preview of it, is the 10 of discs, the wealth of community. That's our spiritual history throughout time that we can always count on. So it's not money. And whenever we think about what a problem is in the world, the problem is greed. So what's the opposite of greed? Gifting. So give to your community your gift in that circle of birth. All right, so that's the first card. And now the challenge is the card called the Lovers. So this is a very traditional card of unifying the masculine and feminine. Just I was talking about the Emperor and the Empress are now the visionary activist and Gaia. So we are trying, the challenge is to reorder our connection with union with the masculine and feminine so that we unite in the symbols and the language of the living body of the goddess now, to not be blocked by old religious or cultural challenges. We can evolve those traditions, but we can't let them stay in the dogma that limits us with only creating union within the structures of religion and culture. So our challenge is to make good choices and to bring up the power of, instead of duality, interaction, complementary behavior. We are not opposing. And by the way, love is going to be the power. You know, hate is hate. It doesn't matter who's hating. So as Martin Luther King said, let no one bring you so low as to hate them. Right now, we need the equilibrium to bring up to date what is community for us now? What is the marriage of the divine between the masculine and the feminine? So I'm not surprised about this card. This card has been coming up more than any other card probably I've ever seen. It was the first card in the Reading for the World this year and the first card last year. So if you look at this card and this one, you notice that both of them show the Kabbalah. So this card shows every position on the tree of life being ignited. So it is a card of birth. It's a card of fire. It's a card of energy bursting forth. In the Mother Peace deck, it shows a baby being born. We are, you know, it's hard now. A birth canal is a dark place. It's a place of life and death. We need to keep breathing with this birth. We're all here born at this time to midwife this potentiality into reality. And so I'm actually really excited to see that the Ace of Wands said, I'm still here, still doing the work. And it's been so amazing for me to see this over and over again on my altar, because it's saying there's fire and energy. And also, you know, I just want to honor the Eric and Sabina who have lost their homes. I'm also a poet. I'm coming out with a collection of poetry called Speak Truth, Be Power. And in that collection, there's a poem about the fires. And what I noticed when the fires happen is what's left usually is only the hearth and the icons, the spiritual icons that we care about. So there's the hearth, the mother, where we circle around to have circle and food and all of that wonderful stuff that makes us feel belonging to community. And so it's time for us to become fire tenders and not firefighters. Absolute respect to all the people that did the work, obviously. But the indigenous have principles that have always tended the fire and known how to work with it. And we need to find that with all the elements again. And I truly believe that I will see the fall of patriarchy in my lifetime. I like to say that I will dance the apocalypso on the corpse of patriarchy. I hope you'll take my hand and dance to the rhythms of the universe, the one song that flows through us all. We don't have to know in our minds how to do this. What we need to do is be present, grounded, and balanced. And then we will know how to respond, not react, because that's the evolutionary leap we're making out of that consciousness of fight, fright, flight to, okay, no, wake up, see what's happening, and remember that we're all interconnected. So I'm very excited to be here with all of you tonight. I truly believe that we have an opportunity. Opportunity equals crisis. And this is where we are right now. We don't have to have the logical answers, to have the spirit in our hearts to say, love does conquer all. So thank you so much, Deborah and Scott and all of the wonderful people gathering here tonight. And may we continue to do this powerful work to get through the birth canal and birth into the next realm.
Thank you so much. It was really, really fun and really quite interesting, the cards that came up, isn't it?
Always, you know?
I bet you're always surprised, right?
Yeah, well, always both surprised and not surprised. Like, it's a function of synchronicity. And the cards just show reality what's happening in this moment, whether it's an individual reading or a collective reading. It's saying if you see things exactly as they are, you can see the way through. So we're seeing the birth, so much birth in this reading. I'm very excited about it.
Do you feel like sometimes the cards are drawn kind of based on your tuning in and channeling, and then you kind of are picking the cards as a channel for life, for God, for spirit, for whoever you're calling for?
Well, I definitely open up. That's why I asked all of you to focus with me, because I feel that I am a person who has studied and worked with the tarot for over 30 years. And what I try to do is bring you to its wisdom from my experience. And that my job is to not let myself get in the way and let that energy come through and speak to the cards spontaneously when they appear. That's why I didn't prepare the reading beforehand. I wanted to be in the moment with all of you and see that community comes up, birth comes up, and the redefining of who we are in terms of our relationships, that we're not stuck in the old limitations of religion and culture that no longer serve us, but that evolve into this time. Yes.
Beautiful. Well, we can all learn a lot more. She's got a great website. It's called magictarot.com. Now, mind you, she spells it MAGICKTAROT.com. And so there's what it looks like. You can go to the website. And she has a book. And so if you want to get the book, it's called Magic Tarot, A Journey of Self-Realization. You can get it on paperback. It came out about 4 years ago. And you can go right to Amazon and get it. So you go to her website, magictarot.com, click on the book, and it'll take you right to this page. And tell us a little bit, very, very briefly about the book.
Well, I made a journey through the archetypes because I believe that the tarot showed us that, and that Jung discovered when he was working and defining and creating the word archetype, that in fact the tarot already embodied that. So when we move through the cards, and I cover the entire deck, but the first 100 pages is the 22 major arcana, from the fool, who always takes a leap of faith and comes in and tells us anything is possible. Right now, there's a lot of fear because people feel like they don't know what's going to happen. And the fool says to that, well, that's great. Then anything can happen. We can take this leap of faith. We can use our imagination and move forward. And by the way, that was also my daughter's picture on my website with me. She's also a tarot reader and life coach for over 20 years. And we're glad to do personal readings online, parties, events. We just did one for sonic.net, wonderful local Sonoma County based organization as well. So I'm very excited to be with all of you and to continue this work.
Great. Thank you, Magic. Thanks for being on the show. It was really, really fun. Speaking of the show, there's a lot that goes into making this show happen. And I want to thank our broadcast partners. These are all people that carry our show in different ways. First and foremost, Unify. A lot of you, hundreds of you, thousands, watch us on Unify. A lot of you are watching us right now. So to all of you watching on Unify, and thank you to the Unify team that makes it happen. Shaquille, thank you, buddy. I also really want to acknowledge the Sign Network. They're doing a sine wave for us tonight, John and Summer Raymer. And I see that they've shared us out to about 70 groups tonight, all watching us on various Facebook groups and pages, all through the Sign Network. There's a wonderful new TV network called Awake TV that carries us. And I really want to thank Light Touch. Jay Mayer, who is the founder of Light Touch, he's sponsored many of our shows. He sponsored our wonderful show last week on quantum healing. And he's going to come right back in a couple of weeks. We're going to have a Halloween show all about All Hallows Eve and really honoring our ancestors. And it's going to be a beautiful show. And thank you, Jay, for all your support through GoFundMe and through sponsoring our show. Also want to thank Alan Steinfeld and New Realities TV. They carry us every week. Of course, I love Coach Academy because that's my organization. Earth Dance Global and Humanities Team. They've got a great event going on. And we're really proud to be collaborating with them. We want to thank our friends at Portal to Ascension. That's Neil Gar. And Disclosure Fest, Adrian Valera. Both those guys have been on our show. We support them. They support us. And you know, a lot of you are probably watching because you just came over from Global Days of Unity. You've been watching today's Global Days of Unity show, and now you came over to us. So thank you, Chris Decker, and welcome those of you watching from Global Days of Unity. And finally, Earthwalk, our newest partner. Great to have you with us. So thank you very much to our partners that make this happen. I also want to acknowledge our donors. And in a moment, I'm going to acknowledge some of the new donors that have come in. But to share a little bit more about our upcoming season and our upcoming supporters party, I'm going to bring Deborah on and kind of share the spotlight with her for a minute. Hey, Deborah.
Hey, Scott, thank you. And again, I want to thank our donors. That's how we produce the show. When you register and you give us a donation, that really helps us move forward. And because of that, we've created a brand new season, the fall season, October through December, with 13 shows. This is the third show of our fall season. But next week, we're going to have an amazing show again. It's about reality creation and new earth manifesting. We're going to feature Bruce Lipton, also Marcy Schweinoff, who is very famous for the Miracles program that she does. We will have James Redfield from Celestine Prophecy, Maureen St. Germain, Shareya Dharma, who actually helped us create this show. So thank you, Shareya. Michelle Anderson. We will have Swami Byandananda. We're going to have back Cornflower with music, one of our favorite musicians, Joanna Bequin, another famous musician. And for the first time, we're going to be featuring Peter Sterling. And then October 31st is going to be a really fun show, All Hallows Eve and Sacred Samhain. And it's really going to be exploring the sacred traditions, but having a lot of fun. And we expect you to come in costume. November 7th is going to be our post-election recovery, and we're really going to be exploring the solutions that are available now, no matter what happens. November 14th, again, is going to be a very special show that we had in August, honoring the wisdom of the indigenous. November 28th, we're going to be with family, Thanksgiving. We're going to talk about creating community and especially intentional community. December 5th, The Secret of Ancient History. December 12th, Relationship Mastery. December 19th, we are going to be going very deep into the winter solstice activation. And then on December 26th, we're going to be sharing the highlights of all our shows that we began with in April. And also to honor people that have really supported us, we thought, what can we do to do that? Well, Scott and I thought, let's have a party. So that's what we're going to do to honor the people that have supported us last season with a $50 donation or more, or this season with a $75 donation or more, or this season if you filled out the supporters form, which means you're going to help us promote, help us build our network and things like that. We are going to have a supporters party once a month. And our next one is going to be this week on Thursday, October 22nd. I don't know why that says 29th, but it is the 22nd. And it's going to be really fun. We're going to have Larissa Stowe and Cornflower perform. We are going to have valuable gifts and surprises. We're going to be able to hear from you, and you can tell us what you like about the show, what you want us to create in the future. And we're going to have really fun networking games and breakout rooms so you can meet each other, because that's really the fun of the Global Peace Tribe, is us connecting and meeting each other. So Scott, would you like to say any more about our supporter party?
Yeah, it is going to be October 22nd. That's this Thursday. Even the flyer, when I opened it up, it said in the subject line, Deborah, October 22nd. But our beautiful flyer maker, we appreciate our flyer goddess maker. She might have gotten the date a little mixed up, but it is the 22nd from 6 to 8 p.m. Pacific time, same time as we run this show. And so thank you for those of you, anybody who registers and donates. We really appreciate that. We really appreciate those people who donate at a higher level. So thank you so much.
And you'll get the invite by email.
That's right. And everybody check it out, make sure, and if you're watching on Facebook, again, there's still plenty of time to go to globalpeacetribe.com and register. That's a really good idea. you register, you can come into our Zoom room. You know, we're going to have our community connections tonight, where people who are in the Zoom room can come in and share for a minute or so about what they've been inspired by. But also, once we get your email, then you'll get every Monday an email from Deborah that gives you the replay, all the details, and to find out about all the ever expanding things going on. You know, this is a movement that really has started. The Global Peace Tribe is very real. We have a very dynamic, growing community. So I want to encourage you to go to our Facebook page, be on our email list, be a part of this incredible community that's growing and growing and growing. And speaking of community, it's happened again. We have a tremendous amount of support for our fire recipients. And I'm going to just remind you to please go to GoFundMe. As I read the names, we have now raised tonight over $3,000. Over $3,000 has come in from your donations. A lot of those have been anonymous, but some of the new people that have donated since I last read names, I want to thank Diesla Parker, Kelly Sharp, Ashley, a lot of anonymous donors, Ayada, Iona, Henri, and Alice. And again, thank you very much to all of you. You can still go to gofundme.com, put in Global Peace Tribe, and thank you so much for your support. And thank you to our anonymous donors. I also want to mention about the Halloween show that we're going to do. It's going to be All Hallows Eve, and we're going to really be focusing on kind of the original traditions of Secret Samhain, the Day of the Dead, and we're going to really be honoring our ancestors. And I want to thank Jay Mayer for his support of our previous shows, and also the way that he's going to be supporting that upcoming show. And something we've never done before. Any of you that come in costume, we're going to find a way to figure out who in the Zoom room is in costume and wants to show off their costumes, and we're going to highlight you. So it's going to be really, really fun. It'll be a very audience participatory show. And we've got Mark Anthony, a world famous psychic, perhaps Cleopatra's lover, who's come all the way back. I'm not quite sure, but it is Mark Anthony, the psychic. And he's going to do readings for some of you, live readings. So it's going to be a really fun evening on October 31st. All right.
Before we go into the GoFundMe, I want to acknowledge a prayer for Sunrise Ranch, because we're finding that the fires are not just happening in California and Oregon, but there's actually fires happening in Colorado now. And some of you may know of the Sunrise Ranch, which is an incredible educational center and spiritual center in Colorado. And they've just been evacuated. There's over 100 people that's been evacuated. And so we just want to pause for a moment and really put out prayers and good vibes and love and healing for the Sunrise Center, which has been around, I believe, for 40 years, something like that, an amazing spiritual and educational center in Colorado. And I'll put the link in the chat room too, so you can trace what's going on for them and possibly give some support their way as well.
Let's just take a moment and pray. Maximum grace for all who have been impacted by the fires. Maximum grace. And speaking of that, it's a perfect segue to bring on our other friend, a blessed member of our community, Eric, who provides a lot of food. He feeds the homeless, he feeds the hungry, and he is also someone who's been impacted by the fires. These are some photographs of his bedroom prior to the fires, his house, place of living, and that's what's left. It's extraordinary, these fires. And so I want to welcome Eric. And Eric was in the Santa Cruz fire. Our earlier recipients. Sabina was in the Oregon fires. Eric was hit by the Santa Cruz fire. Eric, how are you making out, buddy?
I'm doing pretty good, actually, all things considered. And I want to tell you, I feel like, because you and I were looking at different shows to be on, I feel like this was the right show for me to be on tonight. I have different days of where I'm like stressed or not stressed, and today was kind of a stressful day. And although I wasn't on the screen, I've got the kitchen behind me where I've been cooking all day. And so I put the Facebook feed on, and I've been able to watch all the performances and watch everybody. And I went from being stressed and in a bad mood to just like my soul is totally uplifted, and I'm feeling totally rejuvenated from participating in this event today. So thank you everyone for that. What's funny is as I was just watching Magic, I had taken some notes, and I was like circling words that were already on my piece of paper here that she was coming up with, words like rebirth and community and other things that have been a big part of my life lately. And what's interesting too is a little side note, in a former life, years ago, I used to work on a project, and I'm still good friends with the people who do Bliss Dance or Truth is Beauty. And I don't know if you're familiar with those sculptures, but they're like sort of like the typical, like if you Google Burning Man, that's the first statue that comes up, and they're like 60-foot sculptures of women in different poses. And the whole purpose of the art, and I can't really sum it up in 2 sentences, but all women are that awe-inspiring, all women are that powerful, and standing in front of those statues when you come out there, that's the effect that every woman should have on every person, and that's how much power each woman holds. And that was really cool. When I first saw the piece, and when I was introduced to those guys, there was a woman who had come. She had actually snuck out of a country in the Middle East, and that was like she wanted to go to Burning Man, and the first thing she saw was a 60-foot sculpture of a naked woman, and just broke down on the playa. And that was like my first experience with that group. And then a couple of weeks later, we were all good friends, and so that was a really cool intro that. And on Truth is Beauty, which I worked on a lot, I was the camp chef, and the base and sort of to sum it up, the whole purpose of the project was to say, what would the world be like if women were safe? And imagine that. And that was sort of my changing moment as a guy who grew up in New England, going to like New England boarding schools. That's a different upbringing, and I had to like de-educate myself when I came out to California, and that was a big part of that. And that was a big change for me. Not just, it wasn't necessarily my behavior, but also being aware that as a male, we have the responsibility to keep all members of our gender in check, and that, we have to look out for everyone. And I'm not very happy when other representatives of my gender act in a poor manner. So I feel now it's my responsibility to do something about it, and I can, and I do. And that gives me a lot of strength.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you.
We're all evolving, and we're all growing in our own ways, everybody.
Well, and this particular show tonight is such a good example of that, is that I was like really just stressed and focused on what I was doing, and I just figured out how to get the stream going, and just each performance just brought my stress level down. And like my smile got bigger and bigger with each person. So, it's the proof is right here in front of me that there's so much power and just beautiful, loving energy. So thank you for that. And and that's what I've been. What's that?
Thank you for being with us. Thank you.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. I lost an apartment that I lived in. I had just moved there pretty recently, but I had also had these moments of thinking, oh, I'm so happy. Everything is exactly where I want it to be. And I think it's a good reminder that that's not necessarily always going to be like that, or having stuff or having a nice apartment or bed. That's not necessarily where happiness comes from. And you may lose that in a heartbeat, and then you still have to be happy. I've kind of gotten strength from not really letting it sink in too much, because to me it's just stuff. And I use the opportunity. I really admire and model myself after the World Central Kitchen. And so I had an opportunity where an old mentor of mine, a very strong woman actually, was running the kitchen in Santa Cruz, and I got in touch with her. So almost immediately after evacuation, we were working 14-hour days, putting out 1,500 meals a day, and did something like 20,000 meals in like 10 days. So I did that, and then rested for about a week, and then started my own project again, which which is, oh, by the way, that's called, if anyone's interested, it's called Operation Feed the People. We do a weekly gathering where, it's actually a year ago, before COVID, before anything, I was just looking around and said, speaking of community, like, how can I say I live in the best community if even one person's going hungry? Or how do I live in the best town if even one person is having a hard time and I can do something about that? So as a chef, it's nice to work in restaurants, but you don't really have much to show for yourself at the end of the day. But if I can make a difference with, everyone's given a talent, and if I can use that talent to make sure people don't go hungry, that's part of the common collective of chefs and people as general say, hey, how can I use what I'm able to do to help others in my community? And that's what we do weekly. And unfortunately, I mean, I wish that I could say that I wasn't getting busier every week, but between COVID and now all these fires, it's just getting busier and busier every week. So that's a full-time thing I do, just making sure people have access to food. And in our country, we do have a kind of a disparity where we have just massive amounts of food being wasted, while at the same time, an immeasurable number of people are starving. And it's like, how do we reconcile that? That doesn't make any sense. And I'd love to say we're the greatest country or even the greatest town, but if one person's going hungry, then we can't say that. And so I'm doing what I can to do something about it. We all do things to do something about it. Yeah. So as far as the house, though, I'm
so sorry, but we're way past our time here.
Okay. Well, I'd rather talk about that anyway. I appreciate it. I'm doing good hanging in there. The best I could say is take it one day at a time. And if you do have to pack, real quick, just pack all the stuff that you think that is stupid and dumb, like all your sentimental stuff, because you can buy underwear and socks at Walmart. But there's stuff I wish I'd grabbed that I didn't. So nothing is too dumb to grab. And lastly, one thing you can realize out of a situation like this is you always wonder what people think about you sometimes, or you wonder who's there for you, who's really got your back. And the overwhelming amount of support that I've gotten from my community and people around me and total strangers, that's an incredible amount of strength. And now you can drive through some of those burned areas, and a lot of the trees and a lot of the plants are already growing back. So we can take a lot of strength from the rebirth that we see around us. And I'll take example from that. And that's a nurturing energy, seeing growth already. And so we can all do that. Thank you all so much. I may not be here, but I will be watching in the kitchen while I finish up my day.
Okay, and Eric, put into the chat box how people can find out more about you and a little bit more about your program. People were really really curious about that. So
Okay.
if you do that, that'd be great. Okay. Take care, Eric. Thank you so much. And again, remember, people, we're sponsoring and supporting Eric, who lost his home in the Santa Cruz fire, and Sabina, who we met earlier, who lost her home in one of the Oregon fires. All right, well, it's time for more music. And as I've already said, Suzanne Sterling is one of my favorite voices. The moment I hear her voice, I literally get chills down my body. And so I'm so grateful to have Suzanne back on the show again. Suzanne, thank you so much for being with us. Take it away.
That was a lot of information. I'm just taking a moment to breathe, inviting everyone to breathe with me. I'm going to not talk too much, but just sing. This is a prayer for those who are suffering, and it's a remembering that we're always being held by the forces of the divine mother, divine feminine. She is always holding us in her arms. And if you're in this moment right now, suffering in any way or feeling isolated or alone, I dedicate this song to you, to leaning back and feeling that support that comes up from the underneath. Come closer to your soul, lay down your burden here. I know you're trying so hard, seems like you don't go anywhere. Oh, you want to strike out at the world for dragging you down. Listen to what I am saying.
I'm here to help you. Somebody's holding your hand. Somebody's holding your heart. Somebody's holding your hand. Somebody's holding your heart. I know this world has beaten you to the bone. You're trying, still you're crawling down on the floor. Trying don't mean nothing when it feels this wrong. Hey, first thing you should know is that you're not alone. No, you're not alone. There's so many people crying just like you all over the world. Somebody's holding your hand. Somebody's holding your heart. Somebody's holding your hand. Somebody's holding your heart. Oh, child. Oh, child. Let the tears flow like a river. Trust that you'll be held in the arms of the one who loves you. The one who loves you. Goddess loves you, God loves you. I don't care what you call them. They love you, 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 they love. Somebody's holding your hand. Somebody's holding your heart. Oh, somebody's holding your hand. Somebody's holding your heart. Don't you know that the world has a place for you and all your joy, all your sorrow, all your love, and all that you've got to give? Won't you open up your heart to the world? You might get hurt, but you're never gonna die. 'Cause Spirit is holding you, Spirit is holding you, Spirit is holding you, Spirit is holding you in her arms. Somebody's holding your hand. Somebody's holding your heart. Somebody's holding your hand. Somebody's holding your
Thank you so much, Suzanne, for the incredible gift of your voice and the spirit behind your songs. The message of your music is always so powerful and such a match for your God-given voice. Again, you can go to SuzanneSterling.com, find your voice and live your truth. And you're certainly doing that, Suzanne. Thank you so much for being with us.
pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. You know, I want to mention that if I'm seeing in the spot in the chat box while Eric was speaking, other people who know friends who've lost homes, have been impacted by the wildfires. So if you do know someone who's been impacted, please private message me on Facebook. I'm very easy to find. I'm the only Scott Katamas. And private message me with as much contact information as you can, because we are going to be continuing to support people who have been impacted by the fires, really pretty much for the rest of this season. So you can do that. All right, I'm turning it over to my partner, Deborah.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Suzanne. Incredible as always. And now we have another amazing woman. Alexandra Loves is going to be on a virtual conference that's happening right now, G-Fest. She's going to be on tomorrow and she'll tell you more about that. And that is an incredible conference of women from all over, music, wisdom, sharing, that I'll put the information in the chat room. But herself, she has spent a lifetime cultivating empathetic, psychic, and intuitive and dream work gifts that were divinely initiated through her spiritual family in the temples of West Africa. And now her work is focusing on helping women create the life they want by being exactly who they are. So this is someone that is working very personally with women nationally, all around, really cultivating the best that they can be, healing their wounds and becoming into their power. So she's directly working with activating the divine feminine in the women. And she does one-on-one sessions, and she has a spiritual library, and we're so happy to present Alexandra Loves. Thank you, Alexandra.
Hello, hello. Yes, thank you, Deborah. Thank you, Scott, for holding this space. And as far as G-Fest goes, please join us tomorrow. Our keynote speaker is Reverend Deborah L. Johnson from Inner Light in Santa Cruz. That starts at 10 a.m. PST. And then I'll be holding a BIPOC panel on activism, healing, and creating change with some powerful guests. And that will be from 10:30 to 12:30. So please register, join us so you can be in the conversation just like we are now. You're all welcome to that. So just taking a breath and taking in all the beautiful wisdom and gifts that everyone has shared. And when I engage with this concept, this focus, that is this truth that's happening right now in this world, which is the rise of the divine feminine, I think about who I really am on the inside, who you really are on the inside. This time last year, I was in West Africa and I was being handed Guayaka, the goddess, in physical form to take back, to bring to this soil, to American soil, to my temple. And been given initiations and rites to my relationship to the goddess and how I interact with her and how I bring her messages to all the women around me, friends, women I'm working with, discussions, Saturday Night Live. And since that time, there have been many truths sort of opened up and revealed that are true for me. And I realized more and more this wisdom of how what is true for me is also true for you. And so I want to give you a story to help you understand how the divine feminine is rising up into you. And this is for everyone. And especially I'm speaking to women, because as one of the greatest manifestations of the divine feminine, womb women, you are in a position in this old world order where you are being shut down, made small, looking for power in other places, not able to express yourself fully. And so it's to you that I am mostly focusing on here. So I want to tell you the story of who we are, how we got here, how the divine feminine rises up in you. And that is the story of your origin. You know, we see these superhero movies, right? And one of the things that is such a big deal in these superhero movies is like the origin. Where did they come from? How are they made? Where did their powers come from? Right? That comes from our human desire seeking, like, who are we? You notice everyone right now is looking for ancestry. They're getting their blood tests in there and their genes tested, right? Who am I? Where do I come from? Who's my spiritual family? Earlier, the angel of the Sophia Code was speaking about her spiritual family and the way she perceives the divine and the people who are in that spiritual family, right? The ascended masters they have access to. This is something that you have access to. There's an infinite dimensions and infinite focuses when we're talking about ascended masters and angels and deity. There's no one way. There's no one pantheon. It's infinite and you have access. And how do I know you have access? Because of the way you're made, your origin story. You were made by ancestors and spirits. They got together, they made some decisions, they consulted Ifa, the record, right? So many of you might know that as the Akashic record. The mother of Akashic record is Ifa. This is original people. This is the original people's spirituality. Your spirits and ancestors came together and said, we will make this spirit who is you, who you really are. And we will give this spirit destiny, which is your nature and your purpose. It's everything you are, every energy you have access to. The powers of the spirits that live next to the river. The wisdom of the spirits who live on the rim of the sun. The ancestors that you have access to. The congregations of warriors and healers and intuitives and builders and governors. You have access to all of these. They came together to make you, your spirit, who you really are. And then you came down into this body. And for those of us who are living right now, we came into a world that says, don't be that. Don't be all that you are. Only be these things, these little things that can fit into these boxes that we can control and then create our power and our resources from keeping you in these little boxes. And it's easy to dip into the masculine part of this avatar of who we are, the masculine part of our spirits that are very attracted to the structure and very attracted to the logic. And sometimes when out of balance, the control. There's been so much energy and resource put into this hijacking of us through unbalanced masculine, through our separation, through our distance from the divine feminine. And so now that you know this story of everything that you are, all these spirits, all these ancestors, of all the elements, of all these pieces of deity, you know that you have access to a plethora, a multitude of multi-dimensions of wisdom, of solutions, of powers, of gifts. You have destiny. This spirit of yours, that is everything, you have destiny, which is your nature and purpose. And with that comes gifts and talents. And we're breaking out of a system right now that says, don't use your gifts and talents, stay in your box and do what we tell you to do. And so right now, in this time of the divine feminine, now that you know who you are and that you have these gifts and talents, and they are tied into your passion and your purpose and your nature, that is part of your destiny, what you will create in this world that right now is asking you to tap into all that you are that was made in consulting the record of the world. The moral of this story is the divine feminine is in you, in everything that you are, and everything that you really are, and everything that emerges in you when you unplug from this system. Someone says, I knew. Yes, remember, because it's already inside you. And so how do you keep engaging with that? How do you access your pantheon of what some of us call the ascended masters? How do you engage with your spiritual family? How do you know what your gifts are? How do you step into this power that comes from all these spirits and ancestors coming to you and creating everything that you are, all the energy inside you? How do you ride this rise of energy that's within you that makes up who you are? You remember and you ask. It's simply that. You remember and you ask. So when you wake up in the morning, every morning, command it, claim it. My name is Alexandra Loves, and I wish to know who I am, everything. I want to know everything about who I am that came from my spirits and my ancestors. I wish to know everything. I wish to remember. Does that sound like something you can do every day? I think so. Yeah. It's seemingly so simple. Try it every day. I wish to ride this wave of divine feminine power that is rising in the world, that I was born specifically at this time and made purposefully by my spirits and ancestors. I wish to ride that wave. I wish to be fully in it, engaged in it. Show me, I will listen. I claim it. It is me. It is now. I rise. I am the cause of the rise. I am the rise. I inspire the rise. Everything is in me. I have everything I need. Say this to yourself in the morning. The truth is, you might be inspired by me or someone else that spoke today, or someone else who might speak, or the songs you might be hearing. This is also in you. The power you witness in someone else, it is in you. And it is also unique, the way you express it. So you are it, you inspire it, engage with it, remember, ask for it in the morning. You are the divine feminine rising, it is in you.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much. And you are a most wonderful and unique voice. I love how you express yourself, Alexandra. So tell us, how do people work with you in connecting to their ancestors in spirit?
So as always, I do one-on-one sessions. I do deep dive sessions. They're designed for the breakthroughs. They're designed for you to feel maybe what you might have felt in the last, while I was talking, for you to feel that within yourself, to activate that within yourself, to open those doors. So working one-on-one with people is one of the ways. And then also, I opened the Spiritual Foundations Library. That was my project for 2020. And the first course is Working with Your Ancestors in Spirit. It's always open for enrollment. Please reach out if you want to know a little more. It is there on my website, Alexandra Loves. If somebody could drop my website, alexandraloves.com.
There it is.
Thank you. Thank you. My second course is The Anti-Racist Journey. I look at anti-racism from a spiritual perspective. How are we engaging with this battle on earth right now from our spiritual perspective? How do we confront our ancestry and the legacies that are in our name, right? And I'm so happy to be in the creation, longtime creation of sort of my temple space online, my temple class, sort of my A class, the things I would do with people in their one-on-one sessions, a place where people can come and always have access to whatever engagements they need to open this up within themselves, their power, their guidance, their leadership within themselves. So that will be coming in the beginning of the year.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Alexandra. Just
Thank you.
Wonderful. And everybody, tomorrow, go to G-Fest and get more.
Yes, come to G-Fest. It's going to be awesome.
Tomorrow,
We start at 10 PST.
What time are you speaking tomorrow?
The panel, the keynote speaker tomorrow, Deborah L, will be there tomorrow at 10, and then I'll be holding a panel on activism, creating change and healing at 10:30. And please register so you can be in the conversation just like we are right now.
Great. Absolutely. Thank you, Alexandra. Hope to see you again soon. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you all.
All right. Take it away, Deborah.
And now we have another wonderful divine feminine musician. Sarita she was born in Seoul, South Korea. She was raised in Perth, Australia, and she calls the world her home. And she has a worldwide musical mission to uplift and inspire and activate healing with her uniquely feminine blend of evolutionary reggae, roots, acoustic soul flavors, conscious lyrics, and she is, as you can see, she's quite colorful celebration of life. So we're so happy to share with you the beautiful music of Sarita. Thank you, Sarita.
Thank you, Deborah. Thank you, Scott. Thank you, everyone gathered, all the panelists, everyone tuned in. This is just beautiful. Thank you for bringing us together. Community really is the wealth. And Alexandra, that was so inspiring. And I actually changed my choice of song based on what you said, because I was amazed that some of the lyrics in this song, you just spoke those words, and I thought, okay, this is the song I'm going to sing. And the song is called Gifts. And this song is a call to all of us to access, to nurture, to harvest our unique gifts and share them with the world, because the world needs it now more than ever. And that each of our creativity, whatever that is, you know, if it's making the machine that collects all the plastic in the ocean, or if it's creating an incredible, inspiring piece of art, like we need everyone's creativity now more than ever. And that, in fact, each of our collective creativities is the key to the new earth that we're birthing together. So this is a song called Gifts. Come, use the gifts you've been given. Give yourself permission to be all who you are. Come, life is waiting for you. Do what you can do and be all who you are. Take the weight off your shoulders. Come take the weight off your shoulders. You can put your load down now. You can put it on the ground now. Come, use the gifts you've been given. Give yourself permission to be all who you are. I just saw. Come, who's waiting for you? Do what you can do and be all who you are. Come take a weight off your shoulders. Come take a weight off your shoulders. You can put your love down now. You can put it on the ground now. There's nothing stopping you but that voice in your head. So tell it where to go, tell a new story instead. In a life by living it, give your gifts time to exhale all your fears. Get out of your way, this is bigger than you. You're up in from the world if you don't bring it through. Nothing is working right now towards your highest good. Only you can do you. And we need you to do you. Yeah. Come, use the gifts you've been given. Give yourself permission to be all who you are. waiting for you. Do what you came to do and be all of who you are. Yeah, and be all of who you are. All of who you are, yes, and be all who you are.
Thank you so much. And a couple of things I want to share. We're going to hear one more song from you a little bit later on. But you can, I love what she says, write, ignite, and rejoice. And she's got a 5-week songwriting vocal course going on. It's a journey for women starting November 15th. And you can find out more about that at thejoyofsong.com. So that's exciting. And then also, if you go to her website, there's a lot going on, boy, on your website. And it's simple. It's Sarita, SARITAH.com. So very, very cool. And cell phone text me because we did have a little issue with your microphone. So we'll work on that.
All right, let's communicate. Thank you so much for gathering us again.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Look forward to seeing you towards the end of the show. All right, Deborah.
Thank you, Scott. And now we get to share with you some really special upcoming online conferences that are happening. As you know, a lot of the live events, live festivals, live conferences that we've attended just can't happen right now. And the blessings are that a lot of these are going virtual. So we are utilizing this platform to get out the information so you can attend these amazing conferences that are coming up. So first of all, I want to introduce a very special person who has been a teacher of mine. I've met Corey Good when he started coming out on the scene and delivering his amazing teachings that are deeply spiritual, deeply evolutionary, and tell us about what's happening in the galactic universe and how it applies to us now. And I've been following Corey on his many adventures of his distributing the information. And I've attended his conferences. And actually one of the recent ones I attended in the last couple of years was at Sunrise Ranch, which we just shared has been evacuated. But he's been sharing amazing conferences with high-level people that are really drilling down to what's happening now in the world on a major evolutionary and galactic level. And next week, he has a conference coming up, 2020 Vision Conference on October 24th and 25th. He's got incredible people, Dr. Michael Sala, Kate Awakening, James Gilliand, Kaia Ra, incredible people. He's going to be talking about ET disclosure, spirituality, technology, and political upheavals on the table, seeking the deepest truth. And Corey, thank you so much for coming to our show. And please share us more about what you have in store for next week. And I'm going to be posting the links in all the chat rooms so people are able to join. Welcome, Corey.
Thank you so much. And I appreciate you giving me an opportunity to talk about this online event. As you stated, a lot of events have gone online because of the COVID debacle, everything that's going on. So I don't know, it's been a way for Tribe to still come together in a virtual way. I guess we know that, Tribe coming together, at least once or twice a year is very important for us to be able to rejuvenate and stay on mission. So a lot of people, they're moving to doing online conferences, and it turns out to be, really handy. People can, watch them when they want. They don't always have to be there or travel or deal with hotels. So it might be a, the thing of the future. A lot of in-person events, there might be fewer of them after this. But yeah, this conference is timely. It's basically it's about trying to find peace in the chaos. And 2020 has been nothing but chaos. And, at the beginning of the year, I did my course, and it was called, well, you can find it on ascensionworks.tv, Accelerating Ascension. And it was, people really enjoyed it. It helped people get through the, lockdown. And this next conference is to kind of help people work through everything that's popped up over the last year, because I know that many of us have things that we thought we had dealt with that reared its head during this past year.
Great, Corey. I really appreciated everything you've produced since.
I lost your audio.
Deborah, you need to unmute.
Got it. Sorry, I didn't
Probably
know I
the
was
cat.
muted.
Probably the cat.
No, I think you muted me, Scott, because I didn't unmute myself. But thank you, Corey. Everything you've done that I've attended has been amazing. I always follow everything you do. Great that I can sit at home and watch everything next week, and I plan to be there. So thank you for your work. And I know it's very much connected with Ascension and with the Awakening, and I really appreciate the level of information and all that you bring together. And we'll keep posting the links in the chat room so that people can attend. So
thank you.
Thank you very much. Now we have one more amazing event for next weekend, which is one reason that inspired us to do this Goddess Gathering this weekend is the 1000 Goddesses Gathering that's happening. This has also been a live event that took place where 1,000 women would come together and do ceremony. And last year they did it in Washington, D.C., right on the plaza there. And it was incredibly powerful. And this time they are uniting hundreds of women doing ceremony all over the world for the goddess. And we've got a video to show you about it now.
Holding it up.
All right.
Give me one moment, Deborah.
When 1,000 goddesses gather, the great mother will rejoice. When 1,000 goddesses gather, love will have a voice. Mother Earth, Mother Fire, Mother Air, Mother Water, we come to you with humble hearts, sister, goddess, priestess, daughter. Rising from the ashes bathed in crimson tears, we carry the dead who buried the pain. We carry our ancestors' fear. We gather with the men who break down the walls, sacred guardians, Father of all. Durga blood and Kali rage, we gather as Lilith to turn the page. Tongues as knives, we cut the sage. We burn, we smolder, we spark, we blaze. We come to keen and sway our hips, the salt of forgiveness upon our lips. The ache of birth is a wild, fierce grace. The pressing pain opens the gates. For eons we dared not step through the door. Our voices grow bolder. The caged bird no more. We know in our bones that we came for this shift. From fear to love, to offer our gift. We have come to midwife an era of peace. Waters cleansed an ocean of grief. We came to remember. We came to release. Each one of us came for this liberation song. Our long walk to freedom forged us wise and strong. Sophia, Pomona, Shakina, Parvati, Artemis, Lakshmi, Venus, Shakti, Gaia, Inanna, Minerva, Persephone, Ostara, Hathor, Demeter, Kali. When 1,000 goddesses gather, the great mother will rejoice. When 1,000 goddesses gather, love will have a voice.
So that brings tears to my eyes, and you can understand what that powerful ceremony is going to be on October 24th, where women are going to gather and give ceremony. And Lisa is here. Great. Hello, Lisa. Lisa is going to tell us a little bit more about it. Actually, I want to also acknowledge Mayor Cromwell, who is the founder, and send her so much love and healing for holding this vision as she goes through dealing with cancer right now and is still producing this amazing event for us all next week. And Lisa, just share a few words about what people are going to experience next week.
Blessings. Thank you so much, Deborah, honoring you, and thank you, Scott, and this beautiful, wonderful community. So 1,000 Goddesses, the 24th of October, 2020. It's been going since 2016. It's a global gathering of many ceremonies where the divine feminine she has arisen, she has been activated. And we are working in these ceremonies across 54 so far have registered on the 1000goddesses.net website. Across 15 nations so far, and we are so looking forward to being in this global energetic ceremony with all of you. Please do register if you feel called to hold your own ceremony. We're uplifting this vibration of fear and all the challenges that we've been facing through to luminous love, wisdom, and compassion. Blessings to Mia, the founder of this event, honouring her Mother Gaia Mystic, Priestess. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Lisa, for coming on for her and being her voice. And we send her so much love and appreciation for what she's created for us for next week. Thank
Absolutely.
you so much.
Thank you so much.
And the links are in the chat rooms and on the Facebook pages. Thank you.
You know, we as community, we're constantly supporting each other in different ways. Again, thank you everybody who's donated to our GoFundMe. And we just have been made aware recently of a member of our community who was just diagnosed with a very extreme 4th stage cancer, our dear friend Gail. And so there's going to be a fundraising event put on You can learn more about it. It's called Gala-Palooza, which is, I think, really quite a wonderful thing to call it. And a lot of our favorite musicians, a lot of the musicians that have been on this show, as a matter of fact, are going to be participating. And anyway, you can find out about it by going on Facebook, and then just go to the Facebook's toolbar and put in Gala-Palooza, Gala-Palooza. It's going to be a musical fundraiser taking place on Sunday, October 25th. That's a week from tomorrow at 3 o'clock Pacific time. So let's all support our friend Gail by going to Gala-Palooza a week from tomorrow. And that's going to be really special. We've got Lakshmi Devi is going to be playing. She's been on our show before, quite a few people. And so I really want to encourage you to do that. And now to introduce our next musical piece, it's my honor to bring back Felicia Rose. You heard her a little bit earlier in the show, and she just brings so much angelic divinity to her music and to her presence. So thank you so much, Felicia, for being with us, and turning it over to you for your next song.
Can you hear me? There we are.
Yes.
Yeah, oh, so inspiring, everyone. I changed songs so many times, but I'm gonna stick with this one. Everybody's so beautiful.
To the rhythms, melodies dancing in my mind. Angels lead me to the river. There are lyrics swimming by. Goddess of the dreamtime. Sending love through the psychic airwaves. You know I'll do the same. Misty moonlight on the mountain, owls singing in the Holy Mother, she is calling her children to the light. Goddess of the dreamtime, calling out my name, sending love through the psychic airwaves. You know I'll do the same. Many miles between us, bridging space and time. Inner vision keeps us connected as we divinely align. Holy Mother, I hear you call in the middle of the night, sending love to meditation in the morning, tapping into
higher regions, celestial sound will guide us home. Goddess of the dream time, calling out my name, sending love through the psychic airwaves. You know I'll do the same. Holy Mother, I hear you call. In the middle of the night, sending love to all.
Thank you so much, Felicia Rose. And again, there's a lot of opportunities for us to go to FeliciaRose.com. She has inspirational songs, CDs, and a lot of wonderful, wonderful things that you can get there. You can also subscribe to her YouTube channel at Felicia Rose Music. So thank you so much for blessing us with your presence, with your beautiful music. Thank you, Felicia.
And now we have another powerful speaker, activator, ascension guide, way shower, voice of Divine Mother, author and speaker, Camille Mortis. She is actually one of my direct ascension teachers and guides, and she works on a very deep level. She is definitely a voice of the Divine Feminine. She comes from Maui, but works with people all over the world with transformational psychic soul clear healing sessions and with tarot, crystal, Reiki, shamanism, all kinds of things. And I look to her as a spiritual guide. And so now I present Camille Mortis. Welcome, Camille.
Thank you, Deborah. Thank you for inviting me on the show. And thank you for everyone who is here presenting. It's a beautiful opportunity. Spirit calls me a revelator of light. I'm here to bring the unknown into the known. And when we're talking about empowerment of the Divine Feminine, the rise of the Divine Feminine, as a channel for Divine Mother, Divine Mother works through me, and the Divine Feminine embodiment as Divine Mother births heaven on earth through the power of the spoken word. The Divine Feminine receives intuitive wisdom from Source through the sacred one heart as divine understanding, wisdom, and knowing. And the healing heart really is our ascension chamber. It's 0 point, and it's where the coherent field of one is, and where miraculous healing and restoration of the divine plan occur. The Divine Feminine as mother gives birth to sacred life and the sacred masculine by activation of the divine plan through the power of the spoken word, and by holding those thought forms of purity in place through the practice of the Immaculate Concept. The Immaculate Concept is where one part of life holds a thought form of purity for and on behalf of another part of life, and to outpicture it until it comes into form. This is the process that's done through the living light of the Sophia Christos. And Sophia in Greek is wisdom, while Christos in the Greek is to consecrate or to be anointed. So through the embodiment of the divine Sophia wisdom and knowing, the understanding within, which is a receptive feminine process of receiving and having, one may then anoint, consecrate, and activate sacred life as the divine plan in form. And that is our active masculine process. So the celestial angelic devic realm do not have free will, and the angels don't have free will, and the elementals don't have free will, and they're bound in place. by what humans say and do, because heavenly thoughts create heavenly life, and hellish thoughts will create hellish life. The sacred purpose of humanity is to create heaven on earth as co-creators and steward of the divine plan. And our superpower is the full activation and restoration and resurrection and liberation of the divine plan as heaven on earth, or to be the full embodiment of the living Sophia Christos through the one heart. Each individual has an opportunity and authority to activate the sacred white fire at the center of every atom, because at the center of every atom is the full potential of you being a fully ascended being and realized in human form. I call this, when we restore the sacred white fire center and the center of every atom, the spiritualization of matter as the one ascension of Mother Earth, and all life matters in the spiritualization of matter. So our sacred divinity inherent right of the divine plan is to create with ease. And we begin by inviting our higher self, our soul knowing, into our heart. It doesn't talk to us until we talk to it. So we have to bring it down in. When we place our hand on our heart, we're automatically unifying the mind and the heart through the first ray, the second ray, and the third ray to give birth through the power of the spoken word to the divine plan. So we begin by just affirming, and if you would do this with me through your own words, we would begin to say, I invite my higher self, the Sophia wisdom, knowing and understanding, the infinite knowing, to reside in my heart. So my higher self now resides in me, and divine understanding is activated in me. And I take back all my divinely intended birthrights to know, to see, to hear as source through my own human heart and understanding. I invite my soul and my higher self to be with me today and every day, to always reveal the way and to answer all my questions. And when we bring our higher self into our heart and turn on the knowing, whenever we ask a question, the higher self will reveal the way. Also, I claim my freedom, and as eternal souls, I claim my freedom and sovereignty as an eternal soul in a temporary form. And I am the only authority of me, my mind, my body, my life, and my relationships. And so when we begin to practice the act of the Immaculate Concept, Divine Mother, as Queen of Heaven, has assured me that every single human who chooses to hold the thought form of purity for and on behalf of their fellow man, friends, and families, that she will immediately show up and support you in that process. And it begins like this: standing in our divinity as our higher selves, we now choose to hold the thought forms of purity and love for and on behalf of family, friends, humanity, and ourselves. We choose to practice the act of the Immaculate Concept. In this process, whenever we experience fear or undesirable qualities of a friend, family, or situation, we recognize the situation and hold beside it pure thoughts of what we would like to experience, what the divine plan is, or what source sees and knows it. We begin to declare through the power of the spoken word this divine awareness by speaking out loud the divine plan and activating it in each other. So we can begin to say, only the healing love of source works through me, works through my family, works through humanity, and is demonstrated and resides here. When we're doing this, we can accept our stewardship. And so I'd like to do this, accept stewardship with you. We accept our stewardship as gods and goddesses, the living light, the Christos Sophias, co-creating the divine plan of the highest intended good for Mother Earth and all she embodies, taking back our divinely intended birthrights and sacred power to give birth to new forms freely through the power of the spoken word, right action aligned with divine will. All beings are safe and protected and secure through divine assurance of Source's eternal peace, establishing fellowship, where each being lifts the other in reverence, esteem, praise, and acceptance and inclusion. And we begin to create our sacred family, our sacred community, and our unified, individualized expression of the one. And as we activate the sacred intelligence within us and open ourselves to know, when we see another being and their suffering, we can begin to declare that perfect love now does its perfect work in and through this person. And I like to use a few words. I like to activate. We would begin to declare that divine understanding is activated in the hearts and minds of all beings. It resides in the hearts and minds of all beings, and it is now demonstrated through all beings. And every day we can do this work. We can recognize where our life is less than what we know it is intended to be from the God wisdom, the Sophia wisdom within, and we can begin to activate the highest idea in others. This is the sacred part of life. As co-creator, walking hand in hand with Source, it is not my job to know how, it is my job to know what. Source does the how, I need to know the what. Every day I can say, thank you, higher self, for the love I have today. Thank you, higher self, for the wisdom I have today. Thank you, higher self, for the peace I have today. And when we do this, higher self puts down. When the human invokes, higher self evokes and puts down into us and our aura that energy. I just wanted to share a little bit about how we can use the immaculate concept to activate the highest idea in others. And in the now, with what we are experiencing, we would want to call into the light all injustice, all betrayals, all secrets, all unconscious energy that needs to be known. We would call it into the light to clearly be revealed, made known, understood, and dealt with through divine justice. Okay. And light affirmations are some of the most powerful ways to restore our sacred knowing. So we begin to affirm through the power of the spoken word, light, light, light. Light is produced in the center of my bones. I radiate light. I activate light. I magnify light. Light, light, light. I am light. All is healed in light. All is revealed in light. And all is liberated in light. So these are just a few examples of how the divine feminine gives birth to sacred life and the divine masculine through the inner knowing and activation of the divine plan. Thank you for letting me share this with you.
Thank you, Camille. Thank you for your powerful work. Appreciate you so much.
And we can learn much more about Camille by going to her website. I love the name of this website, Heaven on Earth, justforbeing.com. Heaven on Earth, justforbeing.com, which is also the light activation playbook that Camille has written, because she truly is a revelator of light. And yes, I agree, only love is real. So go to Heaven on Earth, justforbeing.com to learn more about Camille.
Thank you. One of the things that I can do is see where we're blocked. And so Spirit also calls me the remover of obstacles, because we know that when we set our sacred heart intention, it's immediate manifestation of your sacred heart intention if there is no unconscious energy blocking it. So through the onboard guidance system of the Sacred Heart Knowing, there are many tools and techniques to find out when you have an unconscious energy that is blocking your intent, and to clear it and reprogram your unconscious self, and then to activate the divine plan. We are always intended to have success, joy, and victory today and every day. Blessings, and only love is real.
God bless you. Thank you, Camille. Thank you so much. All right. Well, we are going to go to some music. And once again, we're going to be blessed by Madhu and Ige, who are going to take us. Where are you going to take us next, guys? Where are we going?
Well, there's a time for the divine feminine to be still and inward and in the darkness. And there's also a time for the divine feminine to rise and shine and let that kundalini rise. So if you're sitting down, this would be a good time to rise and move the body.
Hey.
Jagadambe, 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 Jai Jai Ma. Jagadambe, 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 Jai Jai Ma, Jai Jai Ma. Jagadambe, Jai Jai Ma, Jai Jai Ma. Jagadambe, Jai Jai Ma. Jagadambe, Jai Jai Ma. Jagadambe, Jai Jai Ma.
Wow. Your music, you guys just take us to such a high place. So many people in the chat room are just raving about your music, and we can get it. You can get his album by going to his website, firstwasthesound.com. Again, spoken from a man who healed himself using sound healing. So definitely go to firstwasthesound.com or support him. That's what I have done. Go to patreon.com/Madhu Music. Patreon.com/Madhu Music. This is a wonderful way. Patreon is it's like what GoFundMe is to fundraising. Patreon is our way of supporting our favorite artists. So, Madhu, Ege, God bless you guys. You were on last week. You're on my show last night. You're on tonight. I would just have to say you've become one of our house musicians. Thank you so much, guys.
Yes, we thank you so much. In a couple of months, we're going to release another album specifically dedicated to the goddess. And so stay in touch. We love bringing our music in this format. Thank you.
Oh, fantastic. That's great news. All right, guys, we'll see you soon.
So we've got one more amazing woman for you tonight. And thank you so much, Madhu and Edgy. Incredible to have men bringing amazing music to us of the goddess. That's what this show is about as well. And we have one more amazing woman for you. This woman is a personal friend of mine, dear soul sister. She's an activist priestess. She's a priestess of Isis along with me. She's an artist and activist. She really feels deeply and speaks deeply to the world on a massive level. Her art and her creations and her word and her artistry is amazing. And her voice is also beautiful. I want to introduce Davida Sal to give us her wisdom, her voice, and what she wants to share about the goddess. Hello, Davida.
Thank you so much, Deborah. You're like a big sister for me, you know, as a priestess of Isis. Nobody mentioned Isis tonight.
Mm-hmm.
So she's the goddess of 10,000 names. She can be anyone and anything. Isis is. So for me, she was the mother that adopted me once my physical mother disappeared. So she embraced me, she protected me, she inspired me, she encouraged me to make a difference. You know, just the way I know, the way I feel compelled to through my creative artistic skills, to use my body as a banner to raise awareness for animals, humans, nature. I'm just so inspired daily by women like you and all these amazing women like Elizabeth Wilcock and, you know, the priestess path, which is my path through many lifetimes. And, you know, hopefully I'll get it right this one. So my message is my personal message that I feel so strongly convinced that it's valuable to everyone. So I want everybody to leave fear aside, to leave all holding back, to really become who they truly are, because we only have one chance. And then, you know, it's like the school. So if you fuck it up, you get back to it. You know, it's like you go back to repeat the same course, right? Until you get it right. So this is a soul's boot camp. That's how I call it life. So you come here to really learn who you are, what's your message, and how you can really make a difference. And my way of doing it is not holding back, you know, just giving it all, give everything you have, and to release your anger, frustration, things are not working the way it should. And what do? We have two choices. We whether feel like a victim, like everything's happening to us, we cannot do anything about it, or we step to the warrior priestess, which is taking a stand and to really expressing out and fighting for your truth and what you believe in. And that's my journey, to inspire everybody to speak up and just to take action and to go to the streets and just protest for what you believe. I don't care if it's agreed on my beliefs or not. It's your own, you know, as long as you feel strongly of what you believe, just go for it. Just let it all out and any way you can, verbally, physically, emotionally, artistically, express yourself out. Because in this society, people get sick, people get cancer because they hold back. They hold anger, resentments, things they didn't dare to do and speak about it. This just build these diseases, illnesses. So it's a healthy practice just to be who you are. And, I can go on all night long, but I think that's the most important message I can share with all of you. Just be wild, be bold, like Isis, like my spiritual mother says, Isis is bold, Isis is child, Isis is everything. You can be anything you want. And this is your chance to get it right.
Thank you, Davida. Amazing. And that's who you are. You do such amazing art installations. You'll do art expressions that really make a huge statement, put them on Facebook, get hundreds of thousands of people seeing them. I really admire you for that. You really stand out and speak your word. Love you so much.
Thank you. I love you so much, Deborah. I've been looking up at you ever since I arrived to Los Angeles, and now I'm just so thrilled, so amazed to be here with you. You're like, my big sister once again, and I love you so much. You're so beautiful, and all of you, it's a celebration of life. It's such a miracle to be here right now. We take it for granted. I lost my family, I lost my beloveds, and every day it's a reminder of how privileged, how grateful to be here and to press out my truth.
Thank you so much.
And people can learn more by going straight to Facebook, to Davida Sal's Facebook page. And there's that amazing image talking about ISIS. So it's just go to Facebook and put it into the search bar, Davida Sal, DAVIDA SAL. And that's how we find her. And there's a lot going on. And you can see really what she's talking about, her activism. Her messages are powerful. She's one of the people I've got listed as C first. And I love your messages.
Page. I have the official page that didn't show. I have like many different pages. I'm like Isis. I have many names, many faces, many aspects. So you have to find out which one works for you. So I'm here to serve you, to inspire you, and to encourage you to find, to speak your truth.
Beautiful. Thank you.
And now we've got one more song to close with for this beautiful evening that has been so special, so acknowledging. And we were going to have Sarita come back and give us her beautiful music. Thank you, Sarita.
Blessings, Deborah. Thank you. And I think I unchecked the right box to have the levels stay the same this time. So I wanted to just ground all this in by singing a song called Here We Stand. And this is a song for the mother of us all, Mother Earth. I'd like to acknowledge that I'm sitting, not standing in this moment, but I stand on Tongva land. And I think it's really important for all of us to remember the peoples that have been before and that still are on the lands on which we live. So right now I'm on Tongva land in Los Angeles. And that is, this song is a call to action for each of us to protect what precious life we have left on this planet, right? And I'm sure many of you have seen recently David Attenborough's movie, a life on this planet. And I wept when I watched that. And basically, it all boils down to we need to protect the biodiversity that's left. In his lifetime, in one lifetime, we've seen it halve. And so I wanted to share one thing you could do, one thing, which is to go to loscedrosreserve.org, which is the most biodiverse place on the planet that is currently under threat from gold mining. I could talk about this forever. I won't. I'm going to sing this song. But if you feel like I need to do something to ground this, I need to put this love into action to protect Mama Earth, then you can go to Los Cedros Reserve. I just put it in the chat and you can sign the petition to protect that beautiful, beautiful place. All right, here we stand. This is an anthem for our mama. Here we stand on this land, Mother Provider. All along this way, she carried us through. The time has come to stand as one, protect her from those who see not what they do. All earth inheritors, it's up to me and you. I hear alarm bells ring here on planet Earth, sounding over rivers, lands, and seas. So listen up to what the wise ones said. We cannot eat money. It's time to stand up, protect the air we breathe. Time we all speak up, keep the waters clean. Time to defend what precious life is left. It's time for responsibility. Yes. Again and again and again, I hear the same thing again and again. Well, it's time we learn. It's time to grow. We reap just what we sow. Here we stand on this land, Mother Provider. All along this way, she's carried us through. Time has come to stand as one, protect her from those who see not what they do. All of the inheritors, it's up to me and you. Take a look around, everything comes from her. All the food we eat, the air we breathe, it comes from her. When our work is done, our body will return to her. Are we gonna stand and watch as they abuse her? Oh. Here we stand on this land, Mother Provider. All along this way, she's carried us through. The time has come to stand as one, protect her from those who see not what they do. All earth inheritors, it's up to me and you. I hear her calling on me, I hear her calling on you to come together, made from stars. Each one of us has a unique gift to give. Chose it first and came down here to earth to live. Time has come now to give back to she who provides us all. Yeah. Earth's loving children, heed the call. Here we stand on this land, Mother Provider. All along this way, she carried us through. The time has come to stand as one, protect her from those who see not what they do. All earth inheritors, it's up to me and you. Many blessings. Thank you.
Thank you. And I have pulled up, as you requested, that website.
Thank you, Scott.
Absolutely. So there it is. Tell us a little bit about Reserva Los Cedros.
Ooh, so it's in Ecuador. It's a biological reserve that is protected by their federal law, but it they have issued mining permissions to a Canadian company called Cornerstone Resources, and there's a court case, and that's actually on Monday. So a dear friend of mine just got to spend 5 months in Los Cedros. It's a cloud forest. It is the most biodiverse place on the planet, apparently. She told me a story of being there and having her light on in her little place she was staying, and the wall covered with moths, and not one moth was the same. And so this is the amount. There's bears there. There's cats, giant, big cats. There's hundreds of bird life, hundreds of moths, all just incredibly biodiverse. And it has, unfortunately, even though the Ecuadorian government was the first in the world to issue nature rights in the court of law, it's not being honored. And so there's a big push now for people to, international pressure to protect. As we know, we have so few of our original places left on this planet, and it's all of our homes. So I'm doing what I can to spread the word about that.
Well, thank you so much. And I also want to briefly just take people to where they can learn more about you, which is Sarita Music. Here it is, her website. And it's simple. It's just Saritah. Her name's Sarita.com. And she's got music and singles and all sorts of good stuff there. So let's subscribe so you can get ongoing information from Sarita. And we sure appreciate having you on our show. It's a wonderful way to kind of wrap us up. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Scott and Deborah. Thank you so much. Much love.
Well, we're almost at the end, although we are going to have a couple people come on and share in our community connection time. But kind of to close this out, I'm going to turn it over to my partner, Deborah.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you, everyone who is here joining us tonight for another amazing evening that we co-created together. Thank you for all the presenters, all the musicians, all the love, all the care, all the consciousness, all the incredible intentions of creating a new world through the activation of the divine feminine. So much love. And I invite you next week. We're going to have another incredible show. The theme is going to be reality creation and new earth manifesting. It's going to be all about manifesting and how to manifest now. We have Bruce Lipton with us. We have Marcy Schmeimoff. We have James Redfield of Celestine Prophecy, Maureen St. Germain, Michelle Anderson, Treya Dharma is helping us co-create this event. We have Swami Byandananda for comedy, and for music, we have Cornflower, Joanna Beekman, and Peter Sterling. It's the same Zoom link if you've registered with us. And if you haven't yet and you're on the broadcast and you want to join us on Zoom, you go to globalpeacetribe.com and you can register for the whole fall season through December. So thank you so much love. And back to you, Scott.
And thank you very much, Deborah. And actually, while I keep the spotlight on Deborah for a moment, let's just all look at this woman who works so hard to make this show happen every week. She's amazing. Thank you, Deborah. Maximum grace for Deborah. And picture her tomorrow dancing in Sebastopol at our Sunday afternoon dance. I also want to remind you again, we're having our special supporters party this Thursday night, October 22nd. For those who have donated when you registered for our show. If you registered last year for last season, I should say, the 2-month summer season for $50, or for this fall season for $75 or more, you will be invited, and all the details will be in the email going out on Monday. We're going to have a couple people from Community Connections come up to share their thoughts, their appreciations. And I also want to just invite any of you that might be struggling. Look, it's a hard time. There's economic uncertainty, certainly political uncertainty, health uncertainty. There's a lot going on. And so my company, Love Coach Academy, is offering free support And there's two ways that, or two steps. The first step is if you are struggling, then go to our website. If you're having trouble in your relationship, or if you're single and feeling really lonely and wanting to maybe heal from the past relationship, go to lovecoachacademy.com, and I'll take you there in a moment and show you the website. What happens is the very first thing that pops up when you go to our website is a simple little survey that you can take. Just the moment you go to our website, lovecoachacademy.com, and this comes right up, and you just fill out this survey, you start and you go through it, and we learn a little bit about you. We learn single, married, healing, looking for love, wanting to help resolve relationship challenges. We find out what's going on with you, and then we assign the right love coach to provide you with a free discovery session, including a free 15 to 20 minute session where they'll at least give you a little bit of love, some support, and some tools. So for anybody that is wanting to get some support, go to lovecoachacademy.com. All right, we have some members of our community. This is always fun. And we'll start with, I hope I pronounced it correctly, Kristalla. Hi, Kristalla. You need to unmute. We want to have the complete experience of hearing you.
Hello, good evening. It's so lovely to have an opportunity to say hello.
And where are you coming from, Kristalla? Oh, you're muted again. Try saying something. We're not hearing you. We heard you for a moment. No. Well, while you work on your audio, I'm going to bring another member of our community on. This is Graham. And Kristalla, maybe just go down, take a look, and see if you can get your audio to work, because we'd love to hear from you. And I'll bring you back on in a moment. Hey, Graham.
Hello, Scott. How's it going?
Good to see you. Where are you coming from?
I'm coming from small town, Minnesota.
Small town, Minnesota. Love it.
Yeah.
And what do you want to share today, brother?
Well, I just wanted to share just my appreciation for you guys setting up these Saturday Night Lives every week. I've tuned into a few of them now, and it's just been really nice to discover so many new leaders in kind of our spiritual culture that I was never aware of, and also the musicians too, because it's kind of hard to find that spiritual music, I find. And so it's been really nice to just discover all of this stuff, and seeing how like empowered all of the speakers are too, and how just they're really walking their talk, I suppose. Really inspired. I think it was Alexander Love said today that like the power you see in others, you have that same power. And I'm like, absolutely, seeing all these people so just like their raw power, I'm like, man, I feel like it's rubbing off on me. I feel like doing the same thing. Yeah. So yeah, I just wanted to express my thanks, Scott.
Oh, thank you. And you and everybody watching, everybody listening to us right now, we're all part of this Global Peace Tribe. And some of the speakers and musicians we have on, they're a little bit maybe more famous, or we happen to know about them. But everyone watching, everyone listening has an equally important role to play in the transformation of our world. Like I like to say, we are the ones we've been waiting for. And that includes you, Graham, and includes everybody watching. Right now. We're the ones we've been waiting for. You know, this is the time we've been preparing for. It's an incredible time on the planet. We all have a role to play, and let's play it with open hearts, open minds, and as so many of our speakers remind us, with love, doing everything with love. So thank you, Graham. Really enjoyed meeting you, and
Hey, thank you so much,
next week,
Scott.
hopefully. Thank you. Let's see if Kristalla was able to get her audio to work. Oh no, we're still not hearing you. You know, it's funny, it doesn't show you as muted, but for some reason your computer isn't picking you up. Well, we can't hear you, dear. We can't hear you. Yeah. Let's try again next week, okay? Well, thank you everybody for watching. It's amazing. We still have 161 people in our Zoom room, and I know quite a few. I see quite a few people still on Unify and Love Coach Academy. I think it's just because we get so caught into the beautiful energy of the music and the speakers and just coming together as tribe. You know, I want to share one other opportunity for where we can all come together. Every Sunday, I do a show. I call it the Sacred Sunday Show. And tomorrow, my guest is going to be a dear friend of mine, Teresa Vargo. She's the creator of The Art of Intimacy. And our topic is going to be how to be a peaceful warrior. So come and join us tomorrow, 10 o'clock. You can watch us live on Facebook, or if you go to my page on Facebook, I'll post the Zoom room that you can come in. So that's tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock Pacific time. If you want to get a little more vibe with our Global Peace Tribe, that's another sister show. We've got a few sister shows connected. Our Straight Talk show on Friday nights and our Sacred Sunday show on Sunday mornings. Those are sister shows of this program. All right, it's time for me to get some dinner. Thank you everybody so much for watching. God's blessings. Have a safe and a wonderful weekend. We look forward to our next connection. Good night.